Your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans had 4 representatives over the weekend at the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas: Derrick Henry, Jeff Simmons, Ben Jones, and Morgan Cox. The Titans are also still in search of their next offensive coordinator. Chad Withrow shared his thoughts on the possibility of hiring Matt Nagy.
So I do think that head coaching experience can really serve you when you go back to being a coordinator. So I don't mind that move at all for Mike Vrabel to bring in a guy with that experience.
And ahead of Super Bowl 57, the Kansas City Chiefs have activated running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire off of the injured reserve and have placed wide receiver Malak Hardman on injured reserve, ending his season. The Nashville Predators return the action tomorrow night against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Preds are currently 4 points out of a playoff spot, and Cole Smith signed a 1-year extension today and has 10 points so far this season. I'm Nick Keyser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios, which is live at the Super Bowl out here in Arizona. And our coverage all week long on Radio Row, presented by Social Furniture. Stillman and Company live from Radio Row, brought to you by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. We'll have a bunch of guests coming to you all week, but I am making a promise right here and right now. Ian, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
My promise is no boring guests. Like nobody will come on the show this week that you do not care about. So if it's like, oh, we've got the chance to get the Oscar Mayer hot dog guy, no, we're not interested in that. And yeah, people probably have to, pimp some of their products, but as far as making this an infomercial for whatever, not going to happen. We are going to keep it like the normal show with the Super Bowl flair. And I am going to the opening night tonight, right across the street here from the convention center. I am going to Super Bowl opening night tonight, which means I'm going to have a chance to catch up with A.J. Brown. So we'll have that. I do want to start on this, though. As I was flying this morning, I left my house at 3 o'clock. And as I was flying, I was just reading around, seeing what was going on. I was watching the TV on the plane, and I was watching ESPN, and they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and they were talking about the Jets and the Raiders and all the teams that are pushing all their chips into the middle for Aaron Rodgers. And I figured, okay, like the Raiders, they thought they were going to get Tom Brady, because he's retired. So now they got to figure something else out, and they're about to look stupid for kicking Derek Carr to the curb and not having a quarterback option. And so I get it. I understand. They were talking about it. I get off the plane. I go to The Athletic, and I read Mike Sando's piece. Now, Mike Sando, and we talk about him all the time. What Mike Sando writes, it's never really about Mike Sando. It's about who he's talking to. And so Mike Sando's column in The Athletic today was about where is Aaron Rodgers headed? And the prediction by everybody is that Aaron Rodgers is leaving the Packers. At this point, with all the talk, I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers is leaving the Packers, right? I mean, it feels like the Packers are telling people we want Aaron to go. Aaron's telling people, hey, the Packers kind of want me to go. So I'm reading Mike Sando's column, and it says, quote, "The Jets have been rumored as a logical landing spot for Rodgers based on their need for the position and the presence of new offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, who coached Rodgers in Green Bay. Period. We all know that. Everybody's talking about that. Seems to be pretty cut and dry. Then Quote, execs have pointed to Tennessee as an intriguing potential landing spot. The Packers might not trade Rodgers to an NFC contender such as the San Francisco 49ers, even if the Niners were interested in absorbing the contractual ramifications. One executive says, quote, Tennessee is a great spot for him. A second executive in the Mike Sando column says, quote, I could totally see that. So one executive says, Tennessee. The second executive says, I totally see Tennessee as the spot for Aaron Rodgers. Sando continues, what about the Jets? The first executive says, I just don't know that he is going to want to be in New York. Mike Vrabel in Tennessee seem more his pace. Whether Vrabel wants to put up with his, you know what, who knows? But Matt LaFleur was the offensive coordinator with Vrabel, so Vrabel could pick his brain. Now, I've heard that Vrabel and Matt LaFleur hated each other. And considering that Vrabel threw the bomb on LaFleur at the end of the Thursday night game, probably backs that up. So I'm not sure I totally believe that there. Robert Saleh and LaFleur are close. Those teams all have ties. Another executive said, quote, Vegas would be fine for him. It just seems like a weird fit. Rodgers' personality and Josh McDaniels. I think Josh would rather develop his own guy than have Rodgers. I think he'd rather have Garoppolo than Rodgers. So there you go. So two NFL executives. One says Tennessee for Aaron Rodgers. Quote, Tennessee is a great spot for him. The second one says, I could totally see that. Let me say this. Where Aaron Rodgers is headed is going to be the number one story of Super Bowl week until we get to the actual game. Because I think a lot of people have Chiefs fatigue and the Eagles, you know, their fans are obnoxious and everything else. And there'll be some things that come out about the game, but it's not the same as the where's Aaron Rodgers going drama. That's going to be the big story this week. And Derek Carr will be right there behind it. I would love to do 4 hours a day on Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. You all know me. You all know that I love the big story and I love the big name and I love when the big name and the Titans intersect. You know, with Brady, there was nothing that was coming out about, you know, oh, this person says Brady's going to the Titans. But it was just we talked about Brady all the time, and we did it because you all listened. This is different. This is the opposite. These are two league execs that are looking at the landscape just like I am, just like all you all are, and they see what Green Bay has decided they're going to do. They want to trade Aaron. You've seen what it looks like the Jets are willing to do. The owners come out and said, I am willing to pay for a top flight quarterback, which I interpreted as I want to pay for a top flight quarterback. Peter King wrote they'd give up 2 first-round picks for Rodgers, though I'm not sure they would, and I wouldn't give up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. The Raiders, what's their plan B? It was Brady. That was their plan, was Tom Brady, and now they're not going to get him. And now they're picking at 7. They've already kicked their quarterback out the door. Devontae Adams is recruiting Aaron Rodgers at the fake Pro Bowl. I mean, they want Aaron Rodgers with the Raiders. So the Raiders and the Jets, they're going to push all their chips in the middle for Aaron Rodgers. And yet the executives in the league are saying Titans. Now let's get to me on this. I don't see it. I don't see Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. And as much as I would love to do shows about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, could you imagine if Adam Schefter decides, it comes out and says, you know, league sources are saying Tennessee is making a push for Aaron Rodgers. Could you imagine how that would light everything up? Not just in Nashville, not just on this show, but could you imagine how it would light everything around the league up right now at the Super Bowl at Radio Row? With, I mean, right now, all the networks are here, and how that would be the biggest story. And I'd love to do 4 hours a day on Aaron Rodgers because it's more fun than talking about what offensive linemen are they going to be able to get. And it's certainly more fun than just assuming Tannehill's going to be the quarterback to start next season. And a lot of times when I hear all these other people say, Well, I don't think it's a big deal, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm like, you got to talk about what the hot subject is. You got to talk about what the big topics are that the fans care about. And I know you all care about Aaron Rodgers, and I know you care about him quarterbacking the Titans. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see the Tennessee Titans and Amy Adams Strunk. I do not see her willing to take on $60 million at the quarterback position when she has budgeted out 27 this year for Ryan Tannehill. I mean, you're talking about more than doubling what you have to pay the quarterback. The team had a $217 million payroll last year. I can't imagine that they're going to give 27% of it to one guy. Secondly, I can't see the Titans, and I don't know Rand Carthon, but I don't even think he's really, in charge. I mean, I think he and Vrabel are there, but ultimately they both have to agree on this. I don't see them wanting to trade the 11th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers. And if you don't trade the 11th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers, I can't see Green Bay wanting to make the move, only because Green Bay can't go back to their fans like Atlanta did last year and say, hey, we got a 3rd-round pick in exchange for Aaron Rodgers. Can't do it. So you're going to have to give up a 1st-round pick. And the Titans are picking 11th. So I can't see them doing that. And then most importantly, just like the executive said, like, would Vrabel be willing to put up with all of that? I don't think he would. I don't think Mike Vrabel would have any interest in dealing with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Mike Vrabel would like the fact that if the Titans lose to the Jags on a Sunday, that all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers 3 days later is going on Pat McAfee for 25 minutes to talk about it. I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers, with all the veiled shots that he's taken at his organization over the last 3 years, I can't see Mike Vrabel wanting to deal with that. And even if Aaron tells Vrabel on the front end, oh, I won't be like that in Tennessee, you see what Kyrie Irving does everywhere he goes. It's the same story. So as much as I would love to have a drummed up story, and apparently what they were saying on ESPN this morning is, not that I believe in the cap, but, the cap, that it's better for Rodgers to be traded after June 1st for the Packers. Well, it's actually better for the Titans to cut Ryan Tannehill after June 1st. So that timeline could kind of line up. I would totally enjoy the idea of from now until June talking about, are the Titans going to go for Aaron Rodgers? But I just can't. I mean, we will, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those executives in the league that are unnamed, obviously they can't talk about other teams' players. Maybe they're right. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is the next quarterback of the Titans. I just don't see it. Now, the one thing I will say is, if we were to poll 100 people in Nashville and we were to say, whose opinion do you value more? An unnamed NFL executive you don't know, or Jared Stillman's? My gut tells me you all would take the unnamed executives. So if you're if you're holding on hope to Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, at least you have that. That being said, though, I think I know Vrabel pretty well. I think I know the Titans pretty well. I don't think they're going to do it. 615-737-1025. We're off and rolling today. 615-737-1025. Again, executives telling Mike Sando in The Athletic, look, Tennessee's the spot for Rodgers. A second executive saying that's the right spot. Your thoughts? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025. And here's the real question. If the Titans are considering this, and again, the Titans aren't talking to anybody about any of this. We haven't heard anything of, sources close to the Titans say, we haven't heard anything. So I don't know what they're talking to, who they're talking to, whatever. So the real question, we'll get to that coming up next. Again, the news, could Aaron Rodgers be a Titan? I don't think so, but word on the street says Tennessee. 615-737-1025, live from Radio Row, presented by Social Furniture, Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. NCSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
You can trek through the savannas of Africa. Wait on the magic moment on the Great Plains of North America. Or find the thrills of Patagonia. You can book your dream hunt at the SEI Convention, coming to Nashville for the very first time. Come find your adventure February 22nd through February 25th. It's the ultimate sportsman's market, a place for every hunter. And this year, it's happening Music City style, with special performances by Lee Brice, Big and Rich, The Frontman with Gretchen Wilson, and of course, Leonard Skinner. It's a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle, February 22nd through February 25th. Come find your adventure. Just log on to safariclub.org. One more time, that's safariclub.org. This convention will sell out, so reserve your spot today. Come find your adventure.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from a Moment's Peace, the ultimate day spa and salon in Cool Springs. We're open all day to help you in person or by phone or online at amomentspeace.com. And whether you spend a little or go lavish, you're a thoughtful romantic this Valentine's Day. Time's up, so stop in at a Moment's Peace in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakers Bridge Avenue. Call or click right now, 224-0770. Online at amomentspeace.com.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is... Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game. Right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
The big game is finally here, and so are huge savings at Electronic Express. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Score amazing deals in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I think the hard part about if you're Aaron Rodgers, the last time that you had won a Super Bowl, you had a top 5 defense. So you want to pick a team that, #1, they have to have an offensive line. You need protection. #2, you want a defense that gives you more opportunities. You want somebody that can give you as many touches as possible. And you look at the Vegas Raiders, they haven't been in the top half of the league since 2002 on defense. I'm talking take the league, cut it in half. They haven't been in the top half since 2002. It's a long, long time.
Yeah, it is.
So, you know, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you have to take in a lot of different variables here. And #1, if your defense can't get off the field, it puts a lot of stress on the offense.
There you go. That was Rob Ninkovich this morning on ESPN. And the Raiders have gone all in for Aaron Rodgers. Now, they're not saying it, I guess, like the Jets are. Again, nobody can publicly say anything about any of these guys that are under contract with their current teams. But here's what we know. The Raiders thought they were going to have a good team this year. They made the playoffs last year. They lost to the Bengals, and they thought, okay, Josh McDaniels, Devontae Adams, off we go. They stunk. And so Derek Carr's out, and so they're looking for a quarterback. They thought they were going to get Tom Brady. That obviously didn't work out. So now Devontae Adams is at the Pro Bowl just trying to push Aaron Rodgers in. And yet, nobody really thinks Aaron Rodgers going there. You heard Rob Ninkovich right there talk about their defense. And so that leads the executives in the Athletic, unnamed league executives, telling Mike Sando, Tennessee would be great for Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, I don't see it. But here's the question they have to ask themselves. Vrabel, Carthon, Amy Adams Strunk, This is what they have to ask themselves. Is it worth a $30 million upgrade at the quarterback position in order to get Aaron Rodgers? Is the upgrade that you get, that $30 million, is that a big enough upgrade in order to justify trading the 11th overall pick? And you got to factor that into the 11th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it is. Now, this is my opinion. I don't think it is. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, Jared, last year, this time, you were screaming and yelling and everything, saying that they have to get Aaron Rodgers, they need Aaron Rodgers, that Tannehill can't win the big one. You were the biggest, and I actually started this, the anti-Tannite movement. You were the leader of that. You made fun of Chris Sanders. You called him the president of the Boo-Hoo Tannehill crew. And that's true. But that's where the Packers screwed up. The Packers, and I don't know if the Packers thought there was going to be a decline in Aaron's play. I don't know if they thought, if they didn't think, oh, if we give Aaron the contract, now he's going to be happy. And so Aaron's going to, not have the season that he's had the last 2 years where he's been mad and wanted to shove it up somebody's keister. And so he's gone out and been a league MVP. And that I can't tell you. Maybe the Devontae Adams thing, I don't know. What I do know is that what Aaron Rodgers was this past season is not worth $30 extra million and the 11th overall pick. Now, if Amy Adams Strunk wanted to be like Stan Kroenke of the Rams and just said, I'll pay whatever, I don't care about the money, don't worry about the $60 million, and the Packers would be willing to take a third-round pick in exchange for Aaron Rodgers, now we can talk. Because then I do think there is a legitimate upgrade between Tannehill and Rodgers. But I don't think it's worth $30 million and the 11th overall pick. And that doesn't even factor in the off-the-field stuff that I guarantee you Mike Vrabel wouldn't like. I thought a good example of the way the two guys approach business, Vrabel and Rodgers, was in the Thursday night game when the Packers were accusing Teair Tart of faking an injury. Remember, the Packers had hurried up. They scored that first touchdown because they caught the Titans napping right before the end of the quarter. And so the Titans had been on high alert to make sure, no matter what you do not let Green Bay snap it quickly. And so Green Bay was starting to get some momentum, and they wanted to snap it quickly, but Teair Tart went down. And, they were joking about, was it gamesmanship or what was it, whatever. And Mike Vrabel went out on the field. And Aaron Rodgers is sitting there looking at Mike Vrabel. And he's kind of making a joke, or he's kind of doing, he's joking with him. He's got a big smile, and Vrabel just totally ignores him. And now I know Aaron Rodgers, the difference between the two. Aaron's out there having a good time. He's joking. In the third quarter of a game like that, Mike Vrabel's not joking around. All business. Vrabel jokes. Vrabel's got a personality. That's why people like Vrabel, but not then. Aaron Rodgers talks about going to smoke cigarettes with Vrabel. First of all, I'm sure Vrabel doesn't like that. The fact that, hey, we're boys and we light up some cigarettes, and now you're out there telling everybody, and now everybody's talking about how I'm chain smoking. Sure, he doesn't like that. Those are the things that, again, they have to factor all of this in. Ryan Tannehill is never going to do a Tuesday interview every week and air out his grievances about the team. Ryan Tannehill barely does a Wednesday interview, and the league makes him. I mean, he very rarely does he stir up anything. And the one time he did stir things up, I didn't think he was wrong, and neither did Vrabel. So now Vrabel has to factor in the headache of Rodgers compared to Tannehill. He has to factor in the ability of Tannehill compared to Rodgers, which we know Rodgers is better than Tannehill. But then he's got to factor that 11th pick. Is the player they could take with the 11th overall pick, whether it is a starting number one wide receiver, whether it is a legitimate left tackle, whatever it may be. I believe J.J. Watt was once the 11th overall pick in a draft. is that player and Tannehill worth Aaron Rodgers? And I don't think they value it that way. And I'm not one to call the Titans cheap, and I'm not doing that right now. But that was what a lot of people were saying after the A.J. Brown trade. Oh, Titans didn't want to pay him. Titans are cheap. Titans don't have the money. Titans, all those things. And again, I don't believe that. But you're talking about doubling the price for your quarterback and trading away a good, young player who doesn't make a lot of money with the 11th pick. And so that's what the Titans have to ask themselves. If, in fact, A, Aaron wants to come here, B, Aaron decides that he's going to tone himself down a little bit, or the Packers want to trade him here, and C, if they actually think it's a legitimate possibility that Aaron Rodgers could be the quarterback of the Titans. They'd have to factor all those things in. And this time last year, before Aaron had the thumb injury, before Aaron had the down year without Devontae Adams, before Aaron showed a little bit of a regression, I don't think as much as people make it out to be. I think when all that was going down, before all of that, with A.J. Brown, I'd say do it. I'd say go do it. You're right on the cusp of the Super Bowl. Go do it. You have a number one receiver. You got the best running back in the league. You got a good defense. You got 9 sacks in a playoff game. He's back-to-back league MVP. Go do it. But now almost none of those things are true. So that changes where the Titans are. That changes what I think they should think. And so, again, this is not really about me, but this is about what the league executives are telling people is, hey, Tennessee's the spot. It makes the most sense. And that's great. But I know the Titans. And I just don't see the Titans thinking to themselves that Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career and the baggage that comes with him is $30 million and the 11th overall pick better than Tannehill. And that's what it all comes down to. 615-737-1025. I see your phones. We're to them. 615-737-1025. Live from Radio Row here at the Super Bowl, presented by Social Furniture. And coming up next, the Jets, we know, want Aaron Rodgers. The Raiders, we're pretty sure, want Aaron Rodgers. There's one advantage, one, that the Titans have that these other two teams don't. And I would consider it if it really went down like this. I'll explain what that means, and then I'm right to your phones. Hey, the Preds have a game tomorrow night, and it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate in Pick to Click tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rexford.
Chiefs, Eagles. All this week, join Stillman and Company live from Radio Row as Jared gets you set for the big game.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Our coverage is presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue and the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. It's Radio Row with Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and I'm telling you, this year the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now and use promo code ROB so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I'm going with Philly in this matchup, and I'll go with Jalen Hurts as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball. But you take it any way you want to take it, all on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
On the Tuesday edition of Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, the Predators are back in action after the All-Star break. What do we need to see from this team from now until the trade deadline? All of that plus so much more from 11 to 2 on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
And then the Packers, like, what's involved in that deal if they do decide to trade him?
And Dan, ironically, I'll go back to the Brett Favre situation with us, which is we made that trade in August. So in theory, you want to get this trade done as soon as possible because if you're the Raiders or let's say the Jets, you don't want to wait around post June 1st to know if you have a quarterback. So you need to have alternative plans. But it is a three-way transaction. He has to say that he wants to play. He has to say that he wants to be traded. And then Green Bay and either, let's say, the Jets or Vegas, they have to come up with compensation, which I think you can work out. We had, in our trade with the Packers at the time, conditions. It was a third-round pick that could go up based on play time and performance. And then, obviously, we know that the contract's roughly $58 million, and the team may convert part of that to sign bonus. So it is a three-team transaction. But as you know, Dan, it would be better for Green Bay to do it after June 1st, and that's where the team receiving Aaron Rodgers could be in a little bit of a bind because I don't think they're going to want to wait that long.
To be specific, if they trade him before June 1st, it's about a $40 million dead money cap hit for this year, and if they wait till after, it's about $16 million. So that could make a difference. I mean, if you're the Raiders or the Jets or any of these teams, like, is it worth waiting till after June 1st?
The cap. Of the cap. Oh, the dead cap hit. If we take it now, we got the cap and the cap and everything else. And you all know how I feel about the cap. But I will say this. That cut right there, Dan Graziano this morning, ESPN with Mike Tannenbaum, and that whole explanation of if Aaron Rodgers gets traded after June 1st, it takes the cap hit for the Packers from $40 to $16 million. But the Jets need a quarterback. And Derek Carr is going to be out there on the market, and there's going to be a draft, and they could pick and move up and do what they did when Tannenbaum was there and move up and draft Mark Sanchez so that, hey, Will Levis is our guy. He's our quarterback, whatever. They can do whatever they want. But again, there's only one team that actually fits the mold because the Raiders don't have a quarterback either. And if you don't have a quarterback, you have to get a quarterback. I mean, it reminds me of one time where we were in the office and there was a big rumor that San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan had just taken over in San Francisco. And there was a big rumor that San Francisco was going to trade for Kirk Cousins. And Floyd came into the office and somebody said, what do you think about this big rumor that's out there that Kirk Cousins is going to the 49ers? And this was when Cousins was in Washington, and Floyd goes, well, who's Washington's quarterback going to be? Well, we'll just figure it out. You don't do that at the quarterback position. So if you're the Raiders and you wanted Tom Brady and he retired and you kicked away Derek Carr because you didn't think you could win with him, you don't show up next season with Jarrett Stidham. You need a quarterback. Even if it's Andy Dalton, I know Andy Dalton sucks, but you need a quarterback. There's only one team that anybody has mentioned in the potential Aaron Rodgers discussion, and this includes those executives that told Mike Sando and The Athletic they think the Titans are the best spot for them. But there's only one spot that actually benefits from waiting until June 1st. The answer is the Titans. Because if the Titans move off of Tannehill this year, this is if you're a cap person, and I do think that this stuff matters to the Green Bay Packers, who are a publicly traded company, and they would be able to go sign more players after June 1st, but really build their team in the future around Jordan Love and get rid of the salary at the same time. If you're a cap person, the Titans are the only team that makes sense because the Titans have a quarterback. The Titans can approach the draft with the quarterback they have, knowing, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, June 1st, we're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And they can go into it and draft whoever they want with the 11th overall pick because you can't trade that 11th overall pick to Green Bay and then have them trade him after June 1st. You have to wait. So the Titans could then use their 11th overall pick on a player for this year. And then after June 1st, they could trade their next year's first round pick to the Packers. And the Packers could tell you all, as I have always said, the reason the cap exists, they could turn to you all and say, the cap. That's why we had to do it. The cap. Now, again, the cap's fake, but you all don't think that. Everybody thinks the cap's real, even though it's not. I read an article in the New York Times from 2021 about was the salary cap real or not. And in the January of 21 article, their examples of why the cap was real are because the Rams had maxed out and the Eagles had maxed out into bad cap situations that I forget what they called the Eagles situation. I think they called it critical or dire or something like that. And the Rams won the Super Bowl last year, and the Eagles are probably going to win the Super Bowl this year. So, I mean, yeah, that thing's real. But Green Bay, the Titans, if I'm the Titans, I'm not trading. No way, no how. I am not trading the 11th overall pick for Rodgers. But I'll trade you next year's one. And then you wait. And then then Tannehill gets to go wherever he wants to go. You cut him after June 1st. I traded you next year's one. Still pay Aaron the money. Not to say that the Titans are going to do that or that the Titans want to do that, because I don't think they do. But that is the one advantage here that the Titans have on these other teams, is these other teams better have their quarterback situation figured out by the draft, or else they're going to have to draft a quarterback. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, this whole Aaron Rodgers and the Titans thing, because this is going to start picking up around town now that we're talking about it. This has nothing to do with me. This is Mike Sando in The Athletic talking to unnamed league execs, one who says the Titans are the best fit for Aaron, a second one who says that makes a ton of sense. Even though I don't think Vrabel would put up with Aaron, I don't think it's a reality, but I'm just telling you, that's what people around the league are saying. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Texter to the text line says, I hope Aaron Rodgers comes to Music City because it might cause other players to come play here as well. I don't think that that's totally wrong. If the Titans, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being how important the Dallas Cowboys are, where every day I turn on ESPN's morning show, and there is for sure one segment every time, every single morning about the Dallas Cowboys. If the Cowboys are a 10, the Titans are probably a 2. And the only reason they're a 2 is because they're generally in the playoffs and they've got Mike Vrabel. And a lot of people like Mike Vrabel. So I give it a 2 as opposed to a 1. The Texans are probably about a 1. If the Titans trade for Aaron Rodgers, if the Titans are even in the discussion for Aaron Rodgers, it moves them up to about a 7. If the Titans trade for Aaron Rodgers, they're like a 9. And all of a sudden, the Titans are going to max out on Sunday Night Football, and the Titans are going to be talked about. Are they the team to beat in the AFC? Can they compete with Kansas City and Cincinnati? Are they good enough? Is Aaron got enough around him? Is Derrick Henry still? All those things are going to happen. Players are probably going to want to come here and play with Aaron Rodgers and Derrick Henry and for Mike Vrabel. That, I think, is a fair possibility. That if he were to come here. Texter to the text line says, Aaron Rodgers was quoted last weekend at the Golf Pro-Am saying how much he liked the weather in Miami. I don't know if that's true or not, But I will tell you about the Aaron Rodgers front. I don't think he can go to Miami. I don't think Miami wants Aaron Rodgers. So if Miami doesn't want Aaron Rodgers, they already said they don't want Tom Brady. If they don't want Aaron Rodgers, he's not going there. And I truly believe this without having any proof behind it. I truly believe that if the Miami Dolphins had been willing to move off of Tua to go with Brady, that they would have done it. That he would have done it. That if the Dolphins were willing to go off of Tua for Brady, he would have done it. And he would be playing for the Dolphins. And he would be saying right now, oh, I'm still waiting. I'm not sure. I'm thinking. And then at the end of the year, when the new league year starts and Tom Brady's out there, that he would have signed with the Dolphins and they would have traded Tua, or they would have released Tua, or they would have something if Miami wanted him. They didn't. So if they didn't want Brady, they probably don't want Rodgers. And again, the one thing that I don't think the Titans would be willing to give up, or maybe I'm projecting my own feelings onto this and saying what I wouldn't give up if I were the Titans, I would not give up the 11th overall pick for 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers that looked like he was regressing last year, that didn't look like he could carry the team. I would not trade the 11th overall pick for that. I mean, the 11th overall pick is a big-time player, or at least it should be. I mean, that's why you fired your last general manager, was because your first round and second round picks weren't doing too well. So this should be a big-time Jeffrey Simmons, Jack Conklin level player. And I wouldn't trade that for Aaron Rodgers.
There have been some surprisingly decent players at the 11th overall pick. Just going back, like, Lawan was 11th overall pick, but here's from 2003 to 2012. Marcus Trufant, okay. Ben Roethlisberger, DeMarcus Ware, Jay Cutler, Patrick Willis, Leotis McKelvin, Aaron Maben, Anthony Davis, but J.J. Watt, Dontari Poe. So there's a handful of good players in there you can get at 11.
So you're going to give up that player in order to then pay $30 million extra more? I don't think so. Texter says, I heard some Twitter rumors. Oh, boy, here we go. Heard some Twitter rumors that the Titans had talked to the Bears about trading up to number 1. Yeah, we heard that on Friday, too. What was it Porth said?
The Bears.
The guy who reported that?
Something, the Bears Club or something like that.
Yeah, the Bears blog, that he's wrong 75% of the time, but that he is spot on with some things and has sources inside the organization.
Sounds about right. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So that's a little, it's a little suspect as far as the idea of the Titans trading up for number 1. And I'm against that too. I'm against trading up for number 1 because of what it would take to give up. Wes in Clarksville says, no on Aaron Rodgers. The Titans are not an Aaron Rodgers away from the Super Bowl. When has the last time Aaron's done anything in the playoffs? I don't care about that. I mean, if it was coming down between Aaron or Brady, and I had to pick, I don't care about that. What I care about is what he said in the first part. This time last year, I thought you were an Aaron Rodgers away. I did. Now, I agree. I do not think you are an Aaron Rodgers away. 615-737-1025. I'll get back into your phone, 615-737-1025. Plus, my initial Super Bowl thought that I just have from the Super Bowl. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company. 102.5, 106 through the game. Let me tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app, and FanDuel wants to remind everybody this weekend to enjoy the game responsibly. We all have our systems when we bet, from picking the perfect upset to combing through injury reports the night before the game. And there's one thing every bettor should include in their system: the responsible gaming tools available on FanDuel Sportsbook. These tools help keep you in play and check and under control. Tools like time limits, so you don't unknowingly spend more time on the app than you intend. Wager limits to help you prevent from betting more than you should. And you can even take a timeout, which pauses your account for as long as you may need. FanDuel wants every bettor experience to be about the fun and entertainment. So visit FanDuel.com/playwell and make responsible gaming tools a part of your system. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106 to the game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss,
touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards, close in about 14 days, and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When Smashville wants to rock. We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Hey, it's Jared with my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, Apple iPad, Solo Stove, or Nintendo Switch when you purchase new whole home generators or select new HVAC systems. Or a free 55-inch TV, Nintendo Switch, or Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of necessary home replacements, so call Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company live out on Radio Row here, presented by Social Furniture. So I do have one quick little brief Aaron Rodgers break, and then we'll get back into your Aaron Rodgers text, because again, Mike Sando and the Athletics saying that an unnamed, I feel like an unnamed, or I didn't say I feel like, that an unnamed league executive feels like Aaron Rodgers is best fit is in Tennessee. And hold on, I think we have incoming here, Ian.
Okay.
Okay, here you go. This just from Ryan Porth at 670 in Chicago. Quote, this text came in at 1:46 p.m. Boomer Esiason just said on our station that he likes the Titans as a destination for Rodgers. I will send y'all the audio.
Oh,
so Ian, be on the lookout for that.
Okay, Boomer's a legit guy, I think. I like Boomer.
Okay, so Boomer Esiason. Now I'm going to have to find Boomer here. If he's here, I'm going to have to
hunt him down.
But Boomer Esiason says on 670 The Score in Chicago that he likes Rodgers to the Titans.
He doesn't really have it like he doesn't have like a tie either way. You know, that's why I like these kind of impartial people when they come out with stuff like that.
I got to tell you, if Boomer Esiason thinks Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, this is the one thing that I'll say for all of you out here. And then I will get to my one little Super Bowl take that I've wanted to get to. But this is what I would say for all of you out here about, you know, again, unnamed league executive, Boomer Esiason. If you were to sit there, and I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about me, because a lot of times people will say you in the first person, like, oh, yeah, you know, you got to do a great show and you got to, I don't do that. So I'm talking about you. If you were to say, who is more, not locked in, but who is more right, or who do I trust to be more right about something like this? Boomer Esiason or Jared Stillman? You all would say Boomer Esiason. If it was who all, do I trust to be more right about this? An unnamed league executive, two of them in Mike Sando's article in The Athletic, or Jared Stillman? You all would say the unnamed league executives. Now, I believe, not that I know what the Titans are going to do all the time, because I don't. And I'm not pretending like the Titans talk to me about any of that kind of stuff. Not trying to say that, not trying to put anybody, on the hot seat about that. I think I know the pulse of that team. And every now and then they shock us with some crazy stuff. But I feel like I know the juice. And I know like the obvious. And the obvious to me is I don't think Vrabel wants to deal with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think Amy Adams-Strunk wants to pay the money for Aaron Rodgers. It's like a car. I have a perfectly good $27 million quarterback. Why do I need a $60 million quarterback? So I don't think they're going to do it. But again, Horth just said, Boomer Esiason says on their station in Chicago that he sees the Titans as a destination for Aaron Rodgers. Texter says, Jared, why do the Titans feel like a cheap team? Why do they never sign rookies to a second contract besides the 4 stars the Titans have on their team right now? And I'll say this to anybody who says the Titans are a cheap team. Was it cheap what they did with Julio Jones? It wasn't smart, but was it cheap? And the answer is no. It was not cheap what they did to get Julio Jones. It wasn't smart, but it's not that it was cheap. Is the fact that their left tackle was the highest paid tackle in the league when they signed him, and the fact that the guy can't stay healthy or he's got PED suspensions or whatever it may be, is that them being cheap? No. And I think they're going to sign Jeffrey Simmons to a really, really big contract extension. So this idea about the Titans being cheap, I don't think they're cheap, but I also don't think they want to voluntarily pay $30 extra million for a quarterback when that quarterback is probably not $30 million better than the quarterback that they have right now, and that gap between the two quarterbacks is not what is keeping this team from the Super Bowl. 2 years ago, or excuse me, last season at the beginning, this time last year, I would have told you, yes, do it. That $30 million difference was the Super Bowl. And now I'm not convinced of that. All right, my one little Super Bowl take, and then we'll get back to your phones on the Aaron Rodgers stuff, and maybe Porth will send us that Boomer Esiason sound. But my Super Bowl take, I have Chiefs fatigue. I really do. Maybe some of it is a little bit of jealousy that my team doesn't have Patrick Mahomes. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, I look at Patrick Mahomes and I think that guy's freaking awesome. And I look at the fact that they lost Tyreek Hill this year, and I thought there'd be a little bit of a drop-off. Or they played the Titans and they didn't blow them out, and I felt like that was like I felt like I was spot on about how I thought the Chiefs were going to take a step back. And yet, here are the Chiefs. Mahomes gets hurt, plays through the ankle. Here are the Chiefs. Wins an all-time game against Joe Burrow. Here are the Chiefs. So I'm not taking anything away from the Chiefs. They've earned everything that they've got. They're a well-run franchise, but most importantly, they've got a great coach, and they've got an awesome quarterback, and they didn't luck out for their quarterback. Cincinnati lucked out for Joe Burrow. The Chiefs did not luck out for Patrick Mahomes. They had a plan. They scouted him well. They had a plan for how to get to that pick. They got it. They had a plan for him to sit on the bench. They did it. I mean, talk about well run. The Chiefs, yes. But I have Chiefs fatigue. I'm just kind of tired of the Chiefs. It's like the Super Bowl game on Sunday, and I know I'm here, and nah. And I kind of feel like a lot of the country feels that way. The Eagles are the Eagles. It's not, they were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They're not a bad franchise to be in it. They're not a horrendously boring franchise like the Bears or Washington or one of these teams that I absolutely can't stand whenever they're on a Monday night game. But it's just, I've got Chief fatigue. I do. Now, I'll say this about the fatigue factor. I never have Alabama fatigue, which I know a lot of you all have. And I've never had Tom Brady fatigue, like Patriots fatigue with all those years the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. I thought those were incredibly exciting. The Chiefs, it's like, can we get somebody new from the AFC consistently? Can we just get somebody, a little, it's Kansas City's been here 3 times in the last 5 years or 4 years or whatever it's been. And just I don't know. Now, tonight is the opening night. And so what they do is they have the basketball arena, which is right across the street from the convention center that we're in right now. And so across the street in the basketball arena, they'll have the Eagles players will talk, and 10 star players will be up on these risers. Everybody else, I think you just go to them. And the Chiefs, same way. All the coaches, all the players. My interest with the Chiefs is Matt Nagy. Because, again, Tim Hasselbeck keeps telling everybody Matt Nagy's going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Titans. So I'm fascinated by that. The second one is AJ. Because I have no idea what AJ is going to say about the Titans. And I know this. AJ will be asked tonight about the Titans. And you want to know why AJ will be asked about the Titans, Ian? You want to know how I know AJ will be asked about the Titans tonight?
Will you be asking that?
I will be the one who is going to ask about the contract, about the fact that John Robinson got fired, about where he is and where they are, and just, how he feels about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I've always told Caroline, can never decide for somebody what they're going to say ahead of time. All you can do is ask him a question, and whatever he says, he says. So we will see what AJ has to say tonight. I don't have Eagles fatigue. I'm not anti-Eagles, though I didn't want them to win, and I would have preferred the 49ers in here. But I've got a little bit of Chief fatigue. 615-737-1025. Okay, you guys have blown up the text line about the Aaron Rodgers Titans, Boomer Esiason, so we'll hit that next. 615-737-1025. And it's almost like I'm so anti-me with this Aaron Rodgers Titan speculation. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis, totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company.
TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. Texter says, TD, do you believe that the Titans will have the ability to compete next season?
Absolutely. I think they surely will have the ability. The division continues to be wide open. Obviously, the Texans are going to get better. Obviously, the Colts are going to get better. The Jaguars are what they are. I think the Titans could absolutely get better. The good thing is there's a lot of options. They have pretty solid draft capital. They're going to pick in the top 11 of every round. And then on top of that, they're going to do some different things to free up some money to go get some guys.
Here's the thing that I want everybody to remember. Everything went wrong for the Titans this season, literally everything, and they were 2 minutes and 50 seconds away from making the playoffs. I mean, that's
a monumental losing streak.
Stillman and Company, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When that door closed behind me and I was free, the main thing I wanted to do was just re-enter society, get a job, and see my family.
It's okay.
There's a new state office of re-entry in Tennessee, specifically to help folks like me get jobs. Go to tnworkready.com or visit your local American Job Center. Re-entry is a normal thing, and it's okay.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
tnworkready.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The NFL Pro Bowl games have finished up as the NFC got the 35-33 win over the AFC. One of the big storylines for the Titans this offseason is the contract of defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons. Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com met up with Simmons at the Pro Bowl, and Big Jeff had this to say about his contract talks.
Not much I can say, especially with the talk of the contract, because like I said, that's my team is handling that, so whenever we get to that point, and I feel very confident that I'll be here in Tennessee, which I want to be in Tennessee, so we'll see how it goes.
The NHL and Nashville Predators have wrapped up their All-Star break as well, as the team has been back to practice. Over the weekend, they recalled forward Tommy Novak and defenseman Kevin Gravel from AHL Milwaukee. The team announced today that they have signed forward Cole Smith to a one-year contract for next season, worth $775,000. Nashville will hit the Bridgestone Arena ice tomorrow night when they host the Vegas Golden Knights. And longtime NFL veteran wide receiver A.J. Green announced his retirement today. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Bay.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Crank City score.
On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios at Radio Row here at the Super Bowl. I am literally laughing because this guy that does a show, I guess in Phoenix or whatever, is right by our table, and I don't know what he just did, but it was something like, start the show or something like that. I have no idea. It's some muscle-bound guy, but I'm like, I could not laugh about that. Anywho, we are live at Super Bowl. What is this? LVII. What is that?
57.
57. We're at Super Bowl 57 out here in Phoenix. We're on Radio Row, and our coverage all week of Radio Row is presented by Social Furniture. Stillman and Company, again, live from Radio Row, brought to you by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. So let's reset kind of the story of the day, which is that I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning to fly from Nashville to Phoenix, and I didn't think anything about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I know the Jets want Aaron Rodgers. I know the Raiders want Aaron Rodgers. Then I read Mike Sando's column when I landed, and he talked to 2 executives in the league that liked the idea of Aaron to Tennessee. And it wasn't, I don't even think Sando, and we may have him on today, I don't think Sando was discussing the Titans. I think they said to Sando, hey, we think he's going to go to Tennessee. And so now it's like, whoa, these league executives are talking about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. Then Brian Porth just texted me and said that on 670 The Score in Chicago, his station, Boomer Esiason says he likes the Titans as a potential landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. So all of that being said, to me, it's almost like a Christmas present. I mean, it's like oh my God, Aaron Rodgers and the Titans is going to happen. What do we think? And yet at the same time, the one thing I can't get over is I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen last year, but I thought there was a chance. I really thought. They hadn't given Rodgers the contract yet, so the Titans would have been able to negotiate a deal with him. The Titans were picking in the late 20s last year. They weren't picking at 11. The Titans had a number one receiver last year. They don't have one right now. I mean, it was a different time. And when I was told this time a year ago that Rodgers was building a house in Williamson County, that Rodgers, was open to joining the Titans, I thought maybe there's a chance the Titans push their chips into the middle. Now, I don't see it. I don't see the Titans wanting to pay the money. I don't see Vrabel wanting to deal with Rodgers. And I don't think that they view that Tannehill and the 11th pick is worth Rodgers with the added expense. So I don't think it's going to happen. But everybody else is starting to talk about it. Phones are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and I promised right to him. Texter into the text line. Boy, mad at me. Texter into the text line says, Boomer Esiason is in no way related to the Titans or have any connections to the story, Rodgers, or anything that they may do. To go off of what Boomer Esiason says is absolutely foolish. It's not just Boomer. It's Boomer on top of the unnamed league executives. The one thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers, he talks about retirement nonstop. Every time he goes on the McAfee show, he talks about, am I going to retire? I think about it. I don't know if I would or if I wouldn't, but I think every day about retirement. And so he's gotten people to believe that retirement is a possibility, except that in no way do I see retirement as a possibility for Aaron Rodgers. And I'll tell you why. $60 million. I think if Tom Brady wasn't a free agent and Tom Brady had a $60 million 1-year deal on the table, I think Tom Brady would play for $60 million. You want to know why? Because it's $60 million. Years ago, Warren Buffett, the stock market went down, and somebody on CNBC said to Warren Buffett, they said, when we hear Warren Buffett lost $5 billion today, or Warren Buffett loses $3 billion in a day, how does that make you feel? And he was like, oh, actually, I don't mind it because then it allows me to add stock buybacks. And because of my stock buybacks, I'm able to make more money, or I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand. And I told Floyd that Warren Buffett said that. And Floyd said, ask Warren, would you rather have $2.5 billion or not have $2.5 billion? And he'd tell you he'd rather have $2.5 billion. Aaron Rodgers has plenty of money, but it is $60 million. And I guarantee you he wants his $60 million. So he will play. That much I know. Texter into the text line says, Jared, let's talk hypothetically here. Now we're speaking my language. Couldn't the top Titans offer Bud Dupree and the Titans could split the cash with Green Bay and maybe trade a fourth in the draft? No. Nobody wants Bud Dupree because Bud Dupree can't stay healthy. That's how the league works. And I've always told people this about the NFL. And I say the same thing's true about hockey. Nobody wants the players you don't want. So when it comes to Bud Dupree or Taylor Lewan or any of these guys, nobody wants them. For 2 years, Delaney Walker was looking for a job after the Titans released him. Nobody wanted him. So nobody wants the guys that you don't want, unless you don't want somebody because they're a bad guy or they're lazy, but the guys that you absolutely, that we all know are not coming back, nobody wants. They're not going to trade you Aaron Rodgers for Randy Bullock. Like, nobody wants the players you don't want. Texter says, if the Titans do make this trade, what are they giving up? Surely not the 11th pick. Also, who does the trade? Vrabel or Carthon? Texter also follows up with, Jared, you don't know Roman numerals? Clearly, I don't. I mean, I'd have to let me get to the Roman numerals thing first. I have to look at it and I have to think, right? So I'm like, okay, X is 10, so it's not one of the 10s. L, is that 40? Is that 50? I'm like, I think it's 50. And then V, that's 5. I, 2, 57. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how I have to go about the Roman numerals. The idea of who makes the trade between Carthon and Vrabel. I mean, I feel like in order to do this kind of trade, given the circumstances they're in, I almost kind of feel like they'd have to agree on it. Like that if either guy said no, then they couldn't do it. If Ran Carthon swore up and down that Aaron Rodgers still had something left in the tank, and if he ran to Mike Vrabel and said, we have to do this, buy low, buy on Aaron, we've got to do it, and Vrabel said, no, I don't think they do it. And if Vrabel said to Ran Carthon, I don't think we can win with Tannehill, but Ran Carthon, who took the job and said, guys get hired and fired every day over that position, if he were to say, no, I'm not going to come in and my first move be Aaron Rodgers and have it blow up in our face and trade the 11th overall pick, I'm not going to do that. Then I think that they'd be off. I think they both have to agree in order for them to make such a big move. And the owner, like you talk about who makes the decision on this one about Aaron Rodgers and the money that's owed to him and moving off of Tannehill, the owner is part of that. I mean, there's no doubt she's a part of it. She has to be a part of it as far as because of the money. I mean, you have to give double what you're paying at the quarterback position. And I know a lot of you all think the cap is a budget. It's really not, because as we have said many times on this program, the cap's not real. I know you all look at it like the cap is a budget. You think like, oh, every team has the same amount of money and you can allocate your money however you want to. And that's not true. Every team has their own budget that's set for them by their own team. I don't know what the budget she said is. I mean, if they're to be believed that the Adams sold all their fortune to put all that money in the stadium, then the idea of, oh, who cares if we go over budget by $30 million is a big freaking deal. So she's just as much of a part of it, in my opinion, as the other two. And I would agree with you. I don't want to trade the 11th overall pick for Rodgers. The one thing I can hope is all that, the Titans say to the Packers, let's say Aaron wants to go to Tennessee. And the Titans say to the Packers, we're not dealing 11. We'll give you next year's one. The Packers then can wait until June 1st, trade Aaron to the Titans for next year's one. The Titans get to use the 11th overall pick, and then they cut Tannehill, and that, for all you cap people, saves them something or another, the same amount of money. It's just they're not paying him $27 million. And then Aaron comes in, and then the Packers can turn around and say, see, we got a first round pick, but we had to wait because of the cap. And then the Titans don't have to give up the 11th overall pick. 615-737-1025. Just saw Jim Wyatt around here. Was talking with him for a little bit. Jim Wyatt wrote two things over the weekend. One thing that I think a lot of people are going to say is a big deal that I don't think is a big deal at all. And something that I do think is kind of a big deal. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to weigh in. 615-737-1025. And at some point we will have that Boomer Esiason audio for you saying what he said. Hey, Preds fans, tune in to Smashville Live this Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Want to be the real hero this Valentine's? Genesis Diamonds makes it easy with the Total Romance Package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner out. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. Here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you some gourmet chocolates, a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward dinner at STK Steakhouse. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas for the occasion. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. And of course, if you're thinking of getting engaged this Valentine's, Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with our dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis Diamonds. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolate, and gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and I'm telling you, this year the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now and use promo code ROB so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I'm going with Philly in this matchup, and I'll go with Jalen Hurts as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball. But you take it any way you want to take it, all on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official 2022 stats are in, and the Pella brand is rated #1 by Nashville homeowners for windows and doors. One reason, Nashville homeowners selected Pella Windows #1 for the highest quality craftsmanship. Another key stat, Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is also rated #1 for the brand that stands behind their product. If you need new doors or windows, the choice is clear. Choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Not much I can say, especially with the talk of the contract, because like I said, that's my team is handling that. So whenever we get to that point, and I feel very confident that I'll be here in Tennessee, which I want to be in Tennessee. So we'll see how it goes.
Jeffrey Simmons cuts right to the chase there about the contract with the Titans. And this is something that's going to be a story the entire offseason about, what are the Titans going to offer Simmons? What should they offer Simmons? Anytime a DT signs a contract, and I don't know if any of these guys are due, like the DeForest Buckners or the Chris Joneses anytime any of these guys sign a contract, it's going to be, wow, that's a big one right there. How's that affect Simmons and all of that? And I'm not worried about that. And Jim Wyatt wrote two things at the Pro Bowl this week. One was about Simmons. And one was about, I guess, Simmons and Rand Carthon had a meeting, and Simmons was talking about Rand Carthon and said he thought it was a home run hire and he loves Rand Carthon. And Rand Carthon told him that he was going to be a priority. That's really not a big deal to me. I know it's a big deal to a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people clicked that story to hear Jeff Simmons say, I really like Rand Carthon, and thought, yes, oh, yes. because I think people are afraid that Jeffrey Simmons is not going to be on the Titans. And I think there's no chance that the Titans let Jeffrey Simmons walk. I mean, zero. And I have thought that the whole time. The reason A.J. Brown left and got traded was because A.J. took his business public. And I do think that bothered the Titans. I think the Titans looked at it as, and I don't know if this is right or wrong or what, I have no idea. I think the Titans looked at it as, we can do better. Like, we can not deal with all the drama, not pay the money, not have the guy hurt, and we'll be fine. Which obviously now we're at the Super Bowl and AJ's playing in it. The Titans are so far away from it, they're picking 11. But that's what they thought. Not at one point has anybody in this organization ever thought that about Jeffrey Simmons. Vrabel doesn't think it. Rand Carthon doesn't think it. John Robinson never thought it. I don't think it. You don't think it. So the idea of Simmons likes Rand Carthon, okay, that's not a big deal to me. What is a big deal to me is somebody in Jim Wyatt's mailbag said that, asked about re-signing Nate Davis. And they said that Jim Wyatt wrote in his mailbag that he would not expect Nate Davis to return from the Titans. And I think a lot of people were like, woo. And guess who was one of those people that was like, woo? Me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because regardless of if he works for the team or not, and he does, but even before he worked for the team, nobody was more plugged in on the Titans beat than Jim Wyatt for years. There's guys that in different cities are like the authority on that team, like John McClain is with the Texans. That's what Jim Wyatt was with the Titans. The second thing is Jim Wyatt does work for the team. So anything he puts out there, it is on team stationery. Now, it's Jim's opinion, but it's still Jim's opinion on team stationery. And if Jim is going to have Jim's opinion on team stationery, he better be right. That's the way that he approaches it. So when he said that yesterday about Nate Davis, I was like, ooh. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and TD can back this up because I said this to him last week. I don't know if I should say this or not on the air. It's one of those things that if we were just talking, like when TD and I were on the air during a break and we were just talking and I told TD this and I can't even remember who told me this. I think I shouldn't say it. Should I say it, Ian?
I don't know. It sounds like you're a little reluctant. You might want to be safe.
Well, I'll just say I heard this.
Okay.
Because I did hear this. I do not know this for a fact. I heard this. I heard Vrabel hates Nate Davis. And this was months ago, I think, that I heard that Vrabel doesn't like Nate Davis. And I can't even remember who I heard it from. I can remember hearing it and being like, And then I told TD off the air on Thursday when we were during a break, during the TD Power Hour, and I said, yeah, Vrabel doesn't like Nate Davis. And at least that's what I had heard. Again, I don't know if it's true or not. It's just what I heard. Kind of tracks, right? Like Jim Wyatt saying, I wouldn't expect that. And it tracks if Vrabel doesn't like Nate Davis, that Nate Davis wouldn't be back. Because I'm not a huge Nate Davis fan. I think Nate Davis gets hurt. And I also just don't think Nate Davis is that good. I think he's fine. I think he is a starting guard in the NFL, which is better than I can say about a lot of the players that played on the offensive line for the Titans last year. But I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's a road grader. I don't think he's a great pass blocker. I don't think he's anything special. But I do think that, I don't want to say he has the reputation for being lazy, but I just don't think he and Vrabel, I just don't, I think Jim's right. Now, here's the thing that's crazy about this. and this is another thing that Jim broke down at the Pro Bowl, was talking to Ben Jones. And I mean, I know this for a fact. I know that Ben Jones in the past has said that he will play, or has believed that he will play until they tell him that he can't play anymore. Until the league tells Ben Jones, you cannot play football anymore, Ben Jones will play football. But that was also before Ben Jones got 2 concussions in the span of 3 weeks. And so Ben Jones gave like a both sides of the mouth comment to Jim Wyatt about being at the Pro Bowl and, you know, being excited if he comes back next season, but also knowing it could be the end of his career. So he really committed to nothing, which I get it. I'm not knocking Ben Jones for that. But if Nate Davis doesn't come back and Ben Jones retires, and even if Ben Jones comes back, Nate Davis is the only in his prime starting caliber offensive lineman the Titans have. So right now they have to go out and find a left tackle, a left guard, maybe a center, a right guard, and they have Petit Ferrer at right tackle, but I'm not a huge Petit Ferrer fan. And I think he struggled mightily as a rookie. And that's why he went in the 3rd round and not with the 3rd pick. Because if you can play tackle right away in the NFL, you go 13 overall. You don't go 75 or whatever he went. So I'm not the biggest Petit Ferrer fan. So right now, he's the only starting offensive lineman that they have that we know will be on the team next year. But if they just kick Nate Davis aside, and whatever Nate Davis signs for, he will be overpaid. Because he's going to sign for something around $14-16 million a year, and he ain't that good. But if you let him go, then you have to go find another offensive lineman. He's the only in his prime offensive lineman they have. So now you need 2 guards. You don't need 1 guard. Now you need 2 guards and 1 tackle and maybe another tackle. Coach Shoup said that he would bring in competition if he could for Nicholas Petit Ferrer at right tackle because he wasn't impressed with what he saw at a PT this year. So I get it. I understand what Jim Wyatt's saying and where he's coming from. And again, what I've heard, zero substantiation to it, but I just heard it months ago. Vrabel hates Nate Davis. If that's the case, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do on the offensive line. You got to replace everybody. And no, bringing Aaron Brewer back is not an option to start next year on the line. 615-737-1025. Add that in, 615-737-1025. But I don't think there's any need to be worried about Jeffrey Simmons. And I do think when Jim Wyatt says something like that, I do think that, I take that one seriously. I don't think Jim writes that if Jim doesn't believe it. And I don't think Jim writes it if Jim thinks he's going to get in trouble for writing it. So when Jim Wyatt writes, he doesn't expect Nate Davis back. Add that to the list. I really thought that they'd convince themselves that they had to sign Davis back just because they had the bird in the hand. But I guess not. 615-737-1025. TriStar Moving, my official movers. That's right. I moved with TriStar over 2 years ago, and I am so glad that I did. TriStar Moving, they are the best. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. I always tell people, if you're going to be in the moving process, get a bid from TriStar. Why? Because when you go through the bid process, you'll realize TriStar is the best for what you're looking for. They also have tons of great movers and an awesome sales staff to go along with their great owners, Garrett and Robert, true Nashville guys, local guys, my friends that will take great care of you. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call and tell them I sent you for 10% off your entire move. That's a lot of money in a move. That's 615-640-1219. TriStar Moving. That's right. 615-640-1219. TriStar Moving, nationalmoving.org/radio. Again, 10% off. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you. That's TriStar Moving, my official movers.
When you want all the
going in and the score, blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the
oh, what a stop! Sliding across to make the save. The backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is Smashville. have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, everybody? Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. We know the final drive for the championship is here, and there's no better place to wager on the football title tilt than Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. With over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, there's no better place to wager than Superbook Sports. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sports app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey guys, it's the new year. We popped the champagne, kissed at midnight, and it's time to make a new start. But if you aren't popping like you used to because of erectile dysfunction or low testosterone, maybe your new start should be making a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. You see, ED is just a medical condition affecting men of all ages. But the good news is that ED is highly treatable. In fact, the medical experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have successfully treated thousands of men, with ED treatments having success rates as high as 90%. And with a variety of ED treatment options, including acoustic wave therapy, they can likely find the right one for you. You might even find your cork is popping like it hasn't in years. Plus, their low T treatments are highly effective. So many men have experienced life-changing results, from increased energy to more productive workouts, feeling more rested, and enjoying a greater sex drive too. So make 2023 the year you get free of ED and low T. Make an appointment. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a more comprehensive approach, including a testosterone lab panel and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment, sex start, results vary.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
This year, give your Valentine a gift she'll never forget. A song of love delivered in person by a barbershop quartet. At home, at work, anywhere in the Nashville metro area.
To book your singing Valentine, call 615-200-6193 or go to musiccitychorus.org. That's 615-200-6193 or online at musiccitychorus.org.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce February 14th, 16th, 21st, and 23rd for an exclusive look into what makes Nashville the IT city. Whether you're new to town or a Nashville native, Intro Nashville gives you the opportunity to become engaged and connected to our city's community. During this multi-day immersive program, you'll hear from over 20 community leaders and industry experts whose storytelling unlocks a comprehensive view of our city and region. Gain historical and economic perspective on Nashville while establishing relationships with local business leaders. Space is limited. Register now at intronash.com.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's been an unbelievable week. My family here, been having a good time. Just to see the great players in this league once again this year, it's always an honor to surround yourself with grace. Honestly, just trying to get my body back feeling good. That's kind of been the thing, especially for me, with my ankle and whatever it may be. But I know the locker room going to change, and I know, I met with Rand, and he's an unbelievable guy. I had a great talk with him.
Can I ask, what Rand Carthon said to Jeffrey Simmons that makes Jeffrey Simmons just, Rand Carthon, we had a great talk. What is that talk? What is it that Jeffrey Simmons heard that makes him feel good as compared to what would be a bad talk, right? Because Rand Carthon's not going to show up the first day, call Simmons in and say, yeah, I think you're going to be overpaid, so I'm not going to sign you. Especially when it's, the agent's handling that, so deal with that. I am at least a little curious about that. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, 615-737-1025. Karen is up next here on Nate Davis. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Karen?
Hey, Jared. I was just curious if you thought when Vrabel made that comment he was going to get rid of the 9-to-5ers, if he was referring to Nate Davis.
So I didn't even think about that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I also think back to what Vrabel said. Good call, Karen. I also think back to what Vrabel said when Traylon Burks didn't make it through his first practice of rookie minicamp, and he made some smart-ass comment, Vrabel style, as he always does. He made some comment along the lines of, guys think they can just go with their personal trainers and they can go out and do whatever they want, and it's the same as here, and it's not. And I wonder if that was pointed towards Nate Davis, who spent the offseason training out in L.A., and that Nate Davis spends the offseason training out in Los Angeles and then shows up to training camp. And I believe he got hurt at one point in training camp and then later in the season gets hurt again. And it's like, all that training that you did, that did you a lot of good for your training for you to go out there to Los Angeles when everybody knows why Nate Davis probably went out to Los Angeles to train, because he probably is interested in that payday. And so, I got to go get with this trainer out in LA. He's going to get me right. Now, I know that by bringing up trainer, I can already see your text into the text line now and your calls, and I can already hear them, and I don't want to go there. People are going to say, well, how good's the trainer of the team doing when they've got 90 injuries every year? I can already hear that. I already know. I know how a lot of you feel about that, and I'm not saying that. I'm talking about from Vrabel's perspective. Vrabel wants guys here. Like, I can tell you right now, Vrabel believes in my coaches, my trainers, my staff, that he wants those guys here. And when those guys aren't there getting ready for a contract year and then they get hurt, Vrabel probably does hold it against him. LD texts into the text line, I noticed Simmons was involved in physical type games at the Pro Bowl, so I guess his ankle is better. Ian, did you watch a second of that Pro Bowl stuff this weekend?
I did not, no.
I didn't either.
I didn't. No, my buddy texted me and was like, what is this Pro Bowl? And they're playing dodgeball. And it's like, yeah, I didn't see any of it, I'll be honest.
The only thing I saw was a video on Twitter that Morgan Cox, the team's long snapper, who, by the way, is a free agent, that there's a game called Kick-Tack-Toe where the AFC kickers and long snappers were trying to play tic-tac-toe versus the NFC kickers and long snappers. And Morgan Cox, the long snapper for the Titans, hit 3 in a row to win the kick-tac-toe competition. And so what it was it was literally him long snapping onto a video board that was made up like a tic-tac-toe board. And, he hit 3 in a row. And I'm like, this thing is so stupid. So I don't know what Simmons did at the Pro Bowl games. I don't know what Ben Jones did at the Pro Bowl games.
I saw Henry had a rushing touchdown. I saw Henry. He did get one rushing touchdown. I saw that.
I mean, these guys are out there wearing hats, like, while they do whatever it is they're doing, like wearing an AFC or NFC ball cap while doing whatever they do. I'll tell you when I decided that the Pro Bowl was officially stupid to me. When, I want to say this was 10 years ago, Jeff Saturday had gone to the Packers and had made the Pro Bowl on the NFC. But in the middle of the year, Jeff Saturday got benched. So Jeff Saturday ends up not even starting for his team, but he makes it to the Pro Bowl. And because this was his last Pro Bowl before retiring, or his last game before retiring, at some point during the Pro Bowl, they allowed him to switch to the other team so he could go from the NFC to the AFC and could have one last snap with Peyton Manning. And when I saw that, I said, that is the stupidest thing I have ever seen. And ever since then, the Pro Bowl has gotten stupider and stupider, and now the Pro Bowl's not even a game. So I don't know what Jeffrey Simmons was out there doing at the Pro Bowl games. I don't care. And I also saw Ben Jones talk to, in the Jim Wyatt thing, that Ben Jones was talking about surgeries that he's going to have. But I guess he participated in the Pro Bowl games too. So I guess the concussions and everything else aren't too bad if he's going to have physical type drills. I have no idea what happened to the Pro Bowl games. I think the Pro Bowl games, I think it's stupid. Texter into the text line says, when are you going to play the Boomer Esiason audio? We do. Do we have the Boomer Esiason audio, Ian?
We do, yes.
Okay, we're going to play that at some point. So be awaiting the Boomer Esiason audio about the Titans. And if you don't know exactly what that is, then you're just going to have to wait to hear what it happens to be. Texter to the text line says, why would the Titans overpay for an old, overrated quarterback with a record of choking in the playoffs and having a bad attitude in Aaron Rodgers? I don't think Malik is good enough to start for Tennessee, but I'll take him over Rodgers. I don't know where you guys come up with this Malik Willis stuff from. Like, Malik Willis should not be playing quarterback for anybody. Like, he should not be playing quarterback for you. He should not be playing quarterback for any of the 32 teams. If you want to tell me that you'd rather have Tannehill than Rodgers, fine. If you want to tell me that you don't want to pay the money for Rodgers, fine. If you want to tell me, like the one guy said, that he opined that Jimmy Garoppolo, a league executive in the Mike Sando article, opined that Jimmy Garoppolo is more of a fit for Josh McDaniels than Aaron Rodgers, even though Jimmy Garoppolo sucks and Aaron Rodgers absolutely does not suck, fine. But I don't want to hear, I do not want to hear anybody talk about Malik Willis anymore. When they hire an offensive coordinator, I don't want to hear, can this offensive coordinator fix Malik? No, that ship has sailed. Malik stinks. It's over. Move on. Finito. Done. Ryan in Nashville says, Zach Cunningham should loop into the lazy category as he was not committing himself to meetings while rehabbing. According to Paul Kaharski, he'll also get cut. You know, I don't know what to make of Cunningham because he was a Vrabel guy. He came from the Texans. But because he constantly got hurt, he absolutely positively is not coming back. So add him to the list of guys that are going to get cut. And again, I mean, I don't care about cap space. But if the Titans don't re-sign Nate Davis, now they got to find 4 offensive linemen if Ben Jones doesn't come back, or if you think PT can't start. I mean, so you got to add that in there. And then, they got to re-sign David Long. And then they got to sign this guy. They got to draft right. They got a lot of work to do. And I'm not saying they can't do it because the Eagles were a fringe playoff team last year, and now here they are at the Super Bowl. But that's a lot of work to do. Who is number 9 for the Chiefs? Is that Juju Smith-Schuster?
I believe that is, yeah.
So they have this giant banner that's right in front of me, and it's got Jalen Hurts on one side and Jason Kelsey, and then it says Super Bowl 57, LVII, then Mahomes, then I guess Juju. Why Juju Smith-Schuster? I don't know if you can tell, Ian. I'm having a really hard time not getting distracted.
Well, it looks like, there's a lot of stuff behind you. You can see the banners. There's people walking around. There's the tables. It sounds like
there's just a lot
of stuff going on. Yeah.
I mean, I am constantly like, my head's like moving all the way. I don't know. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phone. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Texter says Malik shouldn't start for Vandy. 615-737-1025. How about a Preds minute? Because they signed a very unpopular player today. He's very popular with them, but very unpopular with everybody else. And I missed a comment that we have got to discuss. And this gives us the opportunity to do it. So we'll have a quick Preds minute, and then we're right back to the Aaron Rodgers and the Titans stuff. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Speaking of the Predators, again, they've got a game tomorrow. And you can join the game for the game Saturday at 3rd and Home, located at 919 3rd Avenue North in Germantown, for a Preds watch party as the Predators take on the Philadelphia Flyers at 11:30 a.m. Come watch the game and get some Preds gear and also enter for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. That's 3rd and Home right there by First Horizon Park. The mouth-watering menu at 3rd and Home includes signature items such as wings, stuffed breadsticks, classic burgers, and hot chicken and waffles.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You can trek through the savannas of Africa. Wait on the magic moment on the Great Plains of North America. Or find the thrills of Patagonia. You can book your dream hunt at the SEI Convention, coming to Nashville for the very first time. Come find your adventure February 22nd through February 25th. It's the ultimate sportsman's market, a place for every hunter. And this year, it's happening Music City style, with special performances by Lee Brice, Big and Rich, The Frontman with Gretchen Wilson, and of course, Leonard Skinner. It's a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle, February 22nd through February 25th. Come find your adventure. Just log on to safariclub.org. One more time, that's safariclub.org. This convention will sell out, so reserve your spot today. Come find your adventure.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from A Moment's Peace, the ultimate day spa and salon in Cool Springs. A spa gift card lets her pick whatever she wants, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, you're a thoughtful romantic this Valentine's Day. But time's running very short. Call 224-0770. A Moment's Peace in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakers Bridge Avenue. Call or click right now, 224-0770. Online at amomentspeace.com.
Hey folks, it's Joe Rexford here for FanDuel Sportsbook, and this is the only app you need at your Super Bowl party. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You download FanDuel now and use promo code Joe102. You can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. This means you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. FanDuel, of course, lets you bet on everything from moneyline point spreads, who's going to score a touchdown, any player props. You can also combine them for a same-game parlay. If I was looking at this Super Bowl, one thing that I feel good about Jalen Hurts over on rushing yards. That's the game prop the player prop in this game that I like. This is all, of course, on a top-rated sportsbook app, safe, secure, very important for me, super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code Joe102. Claim that no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and you must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online room and wager only, $10 deposit required. Refund issued as now withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Social Furniture's tax refund sale is going on now. You will save up to 50% in every department. Huge markdowns. You don't want to miss this opportunity to make your home spectacular. We have everything for your home in stock with no waiting. And hassle-free same-day delivery makes it easy. Pay no money down and pay no interest for 1 full year during Social Furniture's tax refund sale. Don't wait. Come in today. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. And save, save, save.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Celebrate Nashville's chefs and diverse food scene throughout the month of February with Dine Nashville. Scheduled events include one-of-a-kind chef collaborations throughout the month and Restaurant Week, February 20th through 26th. Reservations and more information can be found at visitmusiccity.com/Dine Nashville.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, to Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You've never been in a locker room where you had to look at someone in the eye and say, you do your job, I'll do my job, and I'll meet you at center ice after. You know, like that's, I think, what went down in that. And I think what you're seeing, and you talk about being up to give up 3 goals and come back to win that game, that's game management, and that's another thing that I think they're trying to fine-tune. You know, a team is going to get buzzing, and they're going to come, and they're going to push, and you got to be able to squash it. You know, you got to be able to turn it around and get that momentum back, and that's what great teams are really good at. And I feel like the Preds have struggled, you know, tightening the screws, managing the game. Hey, you know, we're up by 1 goal. Let's not turn it over in the middle and give these guys something to jam back down our throats. You know, so I think their sense of urgency and the obligation, the respect of the game to go out and play it the right way at the right time, I think is what they were talking about, and they should demand that from each other.
So there you go. That was Hal Gill on our program. Hal Gill, a week before the Predators had their team meeting after they got crushed in St. Louis, and Hal came on our show, and I said they need to call up Philip Tomasino, and he was like, well, who in the roster are you going to take out to put him in there? And I said, Mark Jankowski, Cole Smith, and Hal just went off about how, you know, I think Cole Smith's a good player, and I don't think you're being fair, and I don't think. And then about a week later, Cole Smith finally scored a goal. And it almost was like when the fat kid in Little League gets a big hit, everybody off the bench got excited because Cole Smith stinks. And so today, as I was here in Phoenix minding my own business, we got a email from the Predators, a media release informing all of us that the Predators had signed Cole Smith to a 1-year, $775,000 contract. To which I say, why? Like, why? And that lets me, I wasn't going to get into this today until I saw that they had signed Cole Smith to this contract, because I think this is such a why the Preds are where they are, heads up the tush kind of signing that they keep making that drives everybody insane. But for somebody like me, like, I'm kind of over it. Like, I know you all are mad, or at least you should be mad, but I'm kind of over it. Like, I'm used to this stuff. Like, I'm used to the why. Why would you do that? This guy doesn't score. He plays hard. Good. Congratulations. You're a fourth line. He's Rocco Grimaldi, but a little bit taller and not as good of a scorer. But David Poile had a sit down with the Tennessean, and I don't know how I missed this last week. I shouldn't have missed this. So you pull this up. David Poile had a sit down with the Tennessean, and basically he talked about how he doesn't know if he wants to rebuild, and how, you know, he thinks they have a good team, but the results are what they are. And then this freaking doozy quote, and this is Paul Scorbino who wrote this at the Tennessean. Poile pointed to the team retaining most of its draft picks, unlike in previous years, which has allowed it to begin to build with the future in mind. Poile said as many as 5 first-round picks could be playing in Milwaukee in the AHL next season. What? Who cares about Milwaukee? I mean, every time they get into the playoffs or it's late in the season and it's like, why don't they call this guy up? And somebody tells me, oh, well, they don't want to ruin Milwaukee's postseason run. Who freaking cares? That's their business, not my business. It's like, I mean, it's like the Sounds. It's like, hey, next season, I know you're buying tickets to see the Nashville Predators, but next season, the Milwaukee team is going to have 5 first-round picks. And I don't know if when David Poile says things like this, it's one of two things. Either David is so unaware of how ridiculous that sounds. You have not won a playoff series in 4 years. It'll be 5 in a couple of months. You have not won a playoff series. And every year you tell the fans, we're going to try to win in the playoffs. It's not like you told the fans 2 years ago, guys, it's going to be a setback here. It's going to be tough. We're going to rebuild this baby, but it's going to take some time. It's going to be painful, but we're going to end up with a Connor Bedard on the other end, so it'll all be good. No, every offseason, David keeps telling us, oh, it'll be fine. We're going to compete this year. We're going to go for the cup. We promise. And they never do. And now David is sitting there using this as if it's like a strength that they're going to have 5 first-round picks in Milwaukee. Shouldn't the first-round picks be on the Predators? Like, isn't there something wrong when Philip Tomasino is not ready to join the team, but Juuso Parssinen who was taken in the 7th round of the same draft, is that not concerning? And so David Boyle's wasting everybody's time and a next year roster spot on Cole freaking Smith. Oh, but they'll have all those guys in Milwaukee next year. My God. Why am I buying tickets to the Nashville Predators? I should go buy tickets to the Milwaukee Predators. I mean, it's either one of two things. Either David Boyle doesn't understand how ridiculous and out of touch that sounds in comparison with the other things that he has said, or David knows he has such a blank check for failure that it doesn't matter. Like that David just knows they ain't gonna fire me, so I'll say whatever I want to say. But it's one or the other. Either he thinks it's not ridiculous to brag about having 5 first-round picks in the minor leagues. Hey, fans, pretty excited. Or he doesn't care anymore. Doesn't care what you think, doesn't care what I think, doesn't care what any of us think, because ownership has probably told him we're never going to fire you, and so don't worry about it. Like, they've had a week off, and then there was the All-Star break. And so with all this big to-do list as to what your team is going to be or not be for next season, and David's like, we have got to get the Cole Smith deal done today. 2 goals this season. 2 goals. I mean, it's crazy. I'll tell you, it is wild around here. By the way, speaking of the 5 first-round picks they'll be playing in Milwaukee, I went back and I looked at this yesterday. Do you know how many first-round picks? Ian, do you know how many first-round picks the Predators have made that are actively on their roster right now?
Well, I think you sent us to this in the text. So I kind of know.
That is true.
Yeah, it's Fabro.
Fabro, one guy and he sucks. And the one guy you got rid of that you drafted in the first round has gone to Seattle and he's good. Oh my God, it never changes. Oh, it's awful. Herb, if you're listening, that's your money. Don't waste it on Cole Smith. Don't waste it on first-round picks in Milwaukee. Do you think Herb Fritch has ever been to a Milwaukee game? Like, do you think he ever goes to Milwaukee to go root him on?
That's a good question. I bet he's been at some point before, just as like a owner duty kind of thing, you know? But I doubt he goes on the reg.
I think it was Vingan, sent me the math of how many games the Predators need to win in order to make the playoffs. And I said, how many games, before the trade, how many games do they need to win before the trade deadline, for them to think that they're in it? And Vingan said, I think they have 11. And he said, if they win 7, he'll do something stupid, talking about David Boyle. And I said, I'm going to quote you on that. And Vingan said, well, then say ill-advised and not stupid. And I said, no, I like the first one better. So 7 games is what Adam says if they win before the trade deadline until the Predators do something crazy. And I don't think it needs to be 7. I think it needs to be 5 with throw in a loss in overtime. 5 with a loss in overtime, and David will do something. Like last year when he traded a second-round pick for Jeremy Lauzon. Something just off the rocker. He'll do it if they win 5. So, I don't know. I want to get that off my chest today. I know a lot of people don't like Cole Smith. I don't have a problem with Cole Smith, but I don't need him signed in the middle of the season. And I just think it shows you what they value. Like, they value that. And I value the first-round picks that the team makes playing for the Nashville Predators. That's what I value. But I guess it's not the same. 615-737-1025. Boomer Esiason. Add him to the list. There is starting to be a lot of speculation about a major franchise-altering move for the Titans. We will get to the Boomer Esiason cut next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are
1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was a good game. You had a couple of big plays. Roman Yossi scores.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This week in Vanderbilt history, February 8th, 1997. The Commodores win an overtime thriller against Arkansas, 87-83 at Memorial Gym, to return to 500 in SEC play at 5-5. Vandy hit 10 threes and 27 free throws while shooting 48% from the field and out-rebounding the Razorbacks 39-31. Junior big man Austin Bates recorded a double-double, 24 points and 10 rebounds on the night. The victory was the midway point in a 6-game win streak that continued 4 days later with a 66-53 win over Tennessee and Nashville, and then road wins at Auburn and at Georgia. Coach Jan Van Bredekoff's team would finish SEC play at 9-7 and go on to win 19 games overall and earn a bid to the NCAA tournament. Doris 87, Hogs 83 in OT. February 8th, 1997. This week in Vanderbilt history, I'm Kevin Ingram.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection keeps you in the game. That's why we always wore our helmet and our pads on the field. Life, too, comes at you with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, I'm former Tennessee Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Talk to your doctor and get the information that you need to make the informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and family against COVID-19.
More information at nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Adult education in Tennessee. It's more than just a diploma. It's a path to a better life. It's a way to help you communicate more effectively. From high school equivalency classes and testing to English as a second language and college prep courses, there's no shortage of opportunities to enhance the lives of you and your family. Adult education in Tennessee. It's more than just a diploma. Go to tnworkready.com to unlock your maximum potential.
Brought to you by Tennessee Adult Education, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The NFL Pro Bowl games have finished up as the NFC got the 35-33 win over the AFC. One of the big storylines for the Titans this offseason is the contract of defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons. Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com met up with Simmons at the Pro Bowl, and Big Jeff had this to say about his contract talks.
Not much I can say, especially with the talk of the contract, because like I said, that's my team handling that. So whenever we get to that point, and I feel very confident that I'll be here in Tennessee, which I want to be in Tennessee. So we'll see how it goes.
The NHL and Nashville Predators have wrapped up their All-Star break as well, as the team has been back to practice. Over the weekend, they recalled forward Tommy Novak and defenseman Kevin Gravel from AHL Milwaukee. The team announced today that they have signed forward Cole Smith to a one-year contract for next season, worth $775,000. Nashville will hit the Bridgestone Arena ice tomorrow night when they host the Vegas Golden Knights. And longtime NFL veteran wide receiver A.J. Green announced his retirement today. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios here at Super Bowl 57. That's right, live on Radio Row. Stillman and Company will be here all week. Our Radio Row coverage is presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. So the big story to me is all of the speculation that is not coming from me. It is not about Aaron Rodgers and the Titans. Mike Sando of The Athletic did his Mike Sando six-pack. 2 league executives both echoed the idea of Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. Asked about the Raiders, asked about the Jets. One executive said Tennessee is the fit. The second executive said that makes a ton of sense, talking about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. Then Boomer Esiason, Ryan Porth texted me that about an hour ago, Boomer Esiason was on 670 The Score in Chicago. Here is what old Boomer had to say about what he thinks is next for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think Green Bay's trading him to an NFC team. I just don't see that happening unless an NFC team says, oh, my God, I really, we're going to give you all of our draft picks to have 2 years of Aaron Rodgers. That's the other thing. The acquiring team that does acquire Aaron Rodgers has got to get some sort of commitment. At least Tom Brady, when he went to Tampa Bay, he immersed himself in that entire organization. And he basically became the leader in the face of the organization, played 3 years for them, got them to the playoffs for 3 years, won them a Super Bowl. I mean, that's the kind of run I would like to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to afford whoever acquires him. But you are right. If you go to the Raiders, look at that division. You got Sean Payton, like you said, in that division. You got Justin Herbert with now Kellen Moore, new offensive coordinator. You got to deal with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's not going to be an easy out for anybody. That's why, to me, if he were going to go to the AFC, I was thinking, man, maybe he would go to the Titans. I think he has a house in Nashville. And the Titans, I think with him at quarterback, you would give Jacksonville a run for their money, in that division with Houston and Indy dealing with quarterback situations and draft picks and all that other crap. You would have a chance to win there. I just don't know how deep you would go in the playoffs because the top 5 young quarterbacks are all on the AFC side of the ledger. But again, I just don't see Green Bay allowing him to go to an NFC team.
Okay, so I think the important thing to take away from that is it's really just a Boomer saying, I think Tennessee makes more sense than the other spots that are being mentioned for Aaron Rodgers. Well, here's the thing. Aaron has to play somewhere. Aaron has to be on one of these 31 teams that's not Green Bay. And if you're going to take out the NFC, now you're talking about, one of 16 teams has to get Aaron Rodgers. Well, we start at 16. It's not going to be the Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes. It's not going to be Buffalo. It's going to be, they've got Josh Allen. It's not going to be the Chargers. They have Justin Herbert. It's not going to be the Broncos. They can't afford Aaron Rodgers because they're paying all that money to Russell Wilson. It's not going to be Cincinnati because they have Joe Burrow. It's not going to be Cleveland because they've got Deshaun Watson. It's not going to be Indianapolis or Houston because they're going to draft quarterbacks in the first round this year. So now I've just, without even thinking about it, without even going through the list, I've already just wiped out 8 of the 16. Miami says they don't want Tom Brady because they've got Tua, so they're out. You see what I'm saying? Like, is he really going to go to New England? New England's not going to pay the money for them when they've got Mac Jones. So now you're down to 6 teams. And that's just if we're taking out the NFC teams and we're saying, okay, you got 6. Jacksonville's out, you're at 5. So you're at 5 teams. The Jets, the Raiders, the Titans, and I don't even know who the other 2 teams are, and I'm sure they don't have a chance. Cancel them out. Aaron's got to play somewhere. Now, I have said this again. These unnamed executives in the league who know more about the league than I do, but I don't know if they know more about the Titans than I do. They think Tennessee would be a great spot for Aaron. I don't see the Titans being interested in Aaron. I don't see the Titans being interested in going from paying $27 million at the quarterback position. And I'm not talking about the cap. I am talking about the real money. I do not see the Titans interested in going from paying $27 million to paying, I think the number for Aaron is around $59 million. So you're talking about 27 for Tannehill, 59 for Aaron. You're doubling the money that you have to spend at the quarterback position when you're probably going to have to replace 4 offensive linemen. I don't see the Titans wanting to do that. I don't see the Titans as an organization that's going to just throw money at the problem. The Raiders, everybody tells me they're a poor team, but they clearly were selling off Derek Carr to go get Tom Brady. Now they're okay with adding Aaron Rodgers, but that's because they don't have a quarterback and they have the Super Bowl in their building next season. So I could see it. I could understand them wanting to capitalize. Everybody buy your season tickets. The Super Bowl's going to be here. Everybody, become Raider fans. Maybe you can get into the raffle to win a ticket, or I could see it. Here, the money that they would get from having Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have anything to do with the new stadium. So you're not going to sell PSLs based off of Aaron Rodgers. So the idea of paying double the amount of money, I don't see them wanting to do. Then the second part of that, for me, at least on the Rodgers front, is Vrabel. I don't see Vrabel wanting to deal with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the way that Vrabel came up in this league is the Tom Brady way. That was the success that Mike Vrabel's been around. Nobody's bigger than the team. Not even Tom Brady. Not Willie McGinnis. Not Randy Moss. Not Mike Vrabel. Not Ty Law. Not Richard Seymour. Not Lawyer Malloy. Not Rodney Harrison. Not Deion Branch. Not Troy Brown. Not Rob Gronkowski. Nobody is bigger than the team. Well, you know how Aaron Rodgers operates. Aaron is bigger than the team. Aaron has his own session where he sits down with Pat McAfee every week. And unlike a lot of these player podcasts that are out there, Aaron is not afraid to at least throw some shots at whatever it is that's bothering him. Vrabel's not going to be okay with that. Vrabel doesn't want that. So I don't see the owner wanting to pay the extra money. And I don't see Vrabel wanting to deal with Aaron's personality. I also don't see Vrabel wanting to piss away the 11th overall pick if that's what Green Bay wants in exchange for Rodgers. And why wouldn't they want that in exchange for Aaron Rodgers? Now, it's like I said with the Julio Jones thing, and I think other teams in the league were operating this way when it came to Julio Jones, which was, we'll pay the money, but we're not giving you a draft pick. Or at least a good one. We'll give you a 7th, a 6th. Or you pay the money and we'll give you a 3rd round pick. But only one team was willing to pay the money and give the pick. And that was the Titans. And that's why the Titans got blown up over that one. So as much as everybody can speculate Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, and you know me, I would love the idea of sitting here and speculating about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. I mean, I'll speculate all day. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. The only way, and I still have a hard time with this. I don't believe in the cap. I know a lot of people do. And the Titans would have the benefit of the doubt on a post-June 1st cut of Tannehill if they were to make a deal with Green Bay, which would lower Rodgers' cap hit if he was traded after June 1st. Again, I think it's all semantics. Matt Ryan was like a $40 million dead cap charge last year. So I'm sure the Packers could live with Aaron Rodgers as a $40 million dead cap charge. But there's one way I could see it. One way I could see the Titans with league executives thinking, oh, I think he'll go to Tennessee. And with Boomer Esiason thinking, oh, I think he'll go to Tennessee. And Colin Cowherd, who's been on this Aaron Rodgers to Tennessee thing for weeks. There's one way I could legitimately see it. And I'm not banking on this. I'm not even sure if I want this to happen. It's like I definitely want the speculation to continue, but I'm not sure that I necessarily want Rodgers as the quarterback. But the one way I see it happening, I'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 if you want to get a thought in. Again, unnamed league executives say Aaron Rodgers Titans. Boomer Esiason saying Aaron Rodgers Titans. I think Aaron Rodgers Titans is just going to keep picking up no matter how much the Raiders want him. Clearly, Devontae Adams is begging for him, and how much the Jets want him. They've already hired Nathaniel Hackett and done all the same things the Broncos have done before. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those guys have been taking care of my home for years, and they can do the exact same for you. I love my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize, like a 55-inch TV, an Apple iPad, a Solo Stove, or a Nintendo Switch when you purchase a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems. Or get a free 55-inch TV, a Nintendo Switch, or a Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There is no better time to take care of your necessary home replacements than right now, and to do it with my friends at Hiller. Again, I've been using Hiller for years, and I swear by them. You can go right there online, happyhiller.com, fill it all out, get them right to your house. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. That's Hiller. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jared Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jared Companies. For more, visit jaredcompaniesinc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Ginny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and I'm telling you, this year the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now and use promo code ROB so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I'm going with Philly in this matchup, and I'll go with Jalen Hurts as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball. But you take it any way you want to take it, all on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah. And like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
So here is my pie chart, my first Aaron Rodgers pie chart. See a very handsome picture of Aaron there? I'm going to go with this for our radio audience. 51% Packers, 25% Dolphins, Titans O-line, 18% Titans, Jets and Raiders. It could happen. Just to protect it, I'll just say 3% each. According to the report, the Jets are the one team, though, have gone all out to get Aaron Rodgers.
There you go. That was Colin Cowherd. And I will say this. He has been big. He has been pumping the tires on Aaron Rodgers to the Titans for about a month. And now he's only saying 18% on the pie chart for the Titans and Aaron Rodgers. I think there's only one way this happens. And I know league executives and Boomer Esiason and now Colin Cowherd and all these media types are saying, Aaron Rodgers Titans. There's one way it happens, and here's the one way. If Amy Adams Strunk demands it. If Amy Adams Strunk goes to Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon and says, I want Aaron Rodgers, kind of the way that Jerry Jones goes to his people, Will Clay, Stephen Jones, Mike McCarthy, and says, I want him. I want him. Like, no one else is going to pay that for Amari Cooper, but I want him. Then they're going to go get him. That's the way it works. If Amy Adams Strunk were to go to Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon and say, I want Aaron Rodgers, then I think it would happen. Because I do think Aaron rather be here than the Jets. I don't think he wants to deal with New York. And I think he'd rather have it than the Raiders because the Raiders have been bad for forever, and Josh McDaniels is a weird dude. And yes, they have Devontae Adams, but no defense. And I think he likes Vrabel. I think if Aaron had his druthers, he would come here. But again, Aaron wants his money first. And Aaron wants the $60 million. And so I don't think Mike Vrabel really wants Aaron because I don't think he wants to deal with the baggage and the drama and everything else. But I do think, and I could see if Mike Vrabel is told, hey, I want him, then I could see Mike Vrabel doing it. Now, here's the one thing I will say. I do not expect Amy Adams Strunk, who for the most part has said, I'm staying out of this. This has nothing to do with me. I am not the football person. They are the football people. I do not see Amy Adams Strunk doing this. I also don't see Amy Adams Strunk wanting to pay $30 million extra at the quarterback position next year. And I don't necessarily see Amy Adams Strunk really buying into all that Rodgers is. But I could see her dad doing that. Now, I've never met Bud Adams, but I don't know if he'd have been okay with paying the extra $30 million for the quarterback, but I do remember when Peyton Manning was a free agent and Bud Adams was, I want him. He wanted Peyton Manning. He fired Mike Reinfeldt over the fact that Mike Reinfeldt was like, well, we got Jake Locker. We don't need to go get Peyton Manning. And he fired Mike Reinfeldt with 2 years left on his contract for that. And while I don't think Amy is like Bud, the move to fire John Robinson was very much a Bud Adams move. So I say all of this as my way of believing that there is a chance that this happens. I think 18%, like Cowherd said, I think that's a little too strong for me. But I do think the one chance there is that this happens is that Amy Adams Strunk goes to her football people and says, I want Aaron Rodgers. That's it. If she doesn't do that, Aaron's not coming here. They're not going to her and saying, hey, we'd like $60 million to go pay Aaron Rodgers. Not happening. But if she says she wants him, now the 11th overall pick's in play. Because if she says she's willing to do what it takes to get Aaron, now it's, we're going to go get Aaron Rodgers. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines, of course, are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ben says the teams I did not eliminate in the AFC were the Titans, Jets, Raiders, Ravens, and Steelers. Steelers are out. So, again, if Boomer Esiason says, and he's not the only person that said this, but if Boomer Esiason says that Aaron Rodgers is not going to go to the NFC, and Aaron is going to play for an AFC team. Now you're at 16. Take away all the teams that have quarterbacks, you're at 5. And then the 2 teams that are going to draft them, the Colts and the Texans. Now you're at 5. Take the we take the Steelers out of this because the Steelers are not going to pay $60 million for Aaron Rodgers, especially when they've got Kenny Pickett in his second year. But he doesn't fit what the Steelers culture is about anyways. Take them out. So it's Jets, Titans, Raiders, Ravens. I don't see Rodgers as a fit with the Ravens, but I don't know. LD is up next and has been waiting patiently. Thank you for calling. What's up, LD?
Hey, Jared, I want to ask a favor. Like every clip I hear on the radio or TV, also I read fans mentioning, even on calls that you take, they think, or they always say, man, I'm not sure if I want Brady or I want Rodgers behind that line, as if the Titans are going to do nothing to fix the line. Please put that to bed. The Titans will fix the line as best they can. It will not be the same. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, I've been saying that for weeks. Thank you for the call. I mean, they're not going to trot out the same offensive line that they had out there at the end of the season. Like, they're not going to they're not trotting out Nate Davis because apparently Jim Wyatt wrote in his mailbag that he doesn't anticipate Nate Davis coming back. And if he says Nate Davis isn't coming back, Nate Davis is probably not coming back. They're not going to trot Dennis Daly out there. I don't think Aaron Brewer should be out there, but I could see themselves talking themselves into bringing Brewer back. Ben Jones, I know this. I know that 10 months ago, Ben Jones felt like the only way he'd ever leave the NFL is when the NFL told him that it was done with it. When the NFL told Ben Jones, we're done with Ben Jones, then that was when Ben Jones was going to be done. But after the concussions and what he said to Jim Wyatt at the Pro Bowl about, if this is it, whoop-de-doo. If it's not, I have a couple of surgeries and, we'll see. That concerns me a little bit. And I'm still not a big Nicholas Petit-Ferrer fan. But my guess would be they'll have a new left tackle one way or another. They'll have Aaron Brewer, Ben Jones, a new right guard, and Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. And that will not be the same line that you all got mad about that had freaking, what's his name on it, Dennis Daly, that everybody got all worked up about. Texter says, don't forget Aaron has a house here. Let me say this.
Raw land.
That is the one thing that I can guarantee you the Stillman and Company program will not forget that Aaron Rodgers has a home in Williamson County, because the Stillman and Company program is where the world found out about Aaron Rodgers' home in Williamson County. Do you remember all the crying last year from everybody else that didn't have that story that was like, I don't think that means anything? And now you got Boomer Esiason being like, I think he's going to go to the Titans. I hear he's got a home there. Uh-huh. I don't think that means anything. He's got a, so George Kittle has a, yeah, and George Kittle's under contract and isn't demanding a trade every 5 minutes. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. The contract details, apparently, the contract details on Aaron Rodgers are apparently uber complicated. And so we'll analyze that if that makes any sense for the Titans. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. Again, live out at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, presented by Social Furniture. Hey, let me tell all the fine folks, it's Love Week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, brought to you by A Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road tomorrow morning between 6 and 9 a.m. for details on how you could win a $100 gift card to A Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs and qualify for a chance to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card. So get excited about that. I know I am. And also, Predators fans, hang out tomorrow night before the Preds game at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashwell.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pulls a trigger. Yes, from 3.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
And then the Packers, like, what's involved in that deal if they do decide to trade him?
And Dan, ironically, I'll go back to the Brett Favre situation with us, which is we made that trade in August. So in theory, you want to get this trade done as soon as possible because if you're the Raiders or let's say the Jets, you don't want to wait around post June 1st to know if you have a quarterback. So you need to have alternative plans. But it is a three-way transaction. He has to say that he wants to play. He has to say that he wants to be traded. And then Green Bay and either, let's say, the Jets or Vegas, they have to come up with compensation, which I think you can work out. We had, in our trade with the Packers at the time, conditions. It was a third-round pick that could go up based on play time and performance. And then, obviously, we know that the contract's roughly $58 million, and the team may convert part of that to sign bonus. So it is a three-team transaction. But as you know, Dan, it would be better for Green Bay to do it after June 1st, and that's where the team receiving Aaron Rodgers could be in a little bit of a bind because I don't think they're going to want to wait that long.
To be specific, it's, if they trade him before June 1st, it's about a $40 million dead money cap hit for this year, and if they wait till after, it's about $16 million. So that could make a difference. I mean, if you're the Raiders or the Jets or any of these teams, like, is it worth waiting till after June 1st?
So there you go. That was this morning. That's Dan Graziano and Mike Tannenbaum, the former general manager. So I was looking again. All these league executives are telling Mike Sando of the Athletic that they think Aaron Rodgers is the best fit. Oh, he's going to Tennessee. And the second executive says, I think that makes a ton of sense. Plus, Boomer Esiason and Colin Cowherd and everybody else are talking about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. So here you go. This is from the Pro Football Network. This is Aaron Rodgers' contract details. Now, again, what is the one thing that I know you all care about that I do not care about at all whatsoever? Ian, what is that one thing that I absolutely do not care about when it comes to this kind of transaction?
The salary cap.
The cap. But we'll include it for you all because you guys seem to believe that the salary cap is a real thing. So apparently, ahead of last year when Rodgers and the Packers signed a new contract, Pro Football Network says the extension was a complicated one, containing a $40.8 million signing bonus as part of a $101.5 million in full guarantees. The fully guaranteed part of the deal included Rodgers' salary last year and this year, his signing bonus and an option bonus worth $58.3 million this upcoming season. So the option bonus is guaranteed. So if Green Bay cuts Aaron, he still gets the $60 million. Well, they're not going to cut him, but it's guaranteed. The 2023 option bonus adds 2025 to the deal, and the option must be exercised between March 17th and week 1 of next season. So the reason that exists is so that a team could get rid of, its quarterback or something like that after June 1st, and the Packers don't have to pay any of the money that's guaranteed to Aaron. Normally, contracts guarantee on the third day of the league year, and this is already guaranteed, but it doesn't have to be picked up until afterwards, which means if the Packers trade Aaron, somebody else could pay it. And you heard Tannenbaum saying for the Packers, and again, this is if you believe in the cap, and I do not. But you heard Tannenbaum saying there that, if they do this, they need to do it after June 1st. But that the Raiders and the Jets can't afford to wait until June 1st because if they wait till June 1st, they may not have a quarterback. The Raiders are going to release Derek Carr. This idea that they're going to trade Derek Carr is laughable. And I was literally joking about it on the radio this weekend about the idea that Derek Carr is going to hurt the team that he's going to by facilitating a trade and helping the team that kicked him to the curb. So the Raiders embarrassed him at the end of this past season by kicking him out and saying, we don't want you anymore, Derek Carr, beat it. And so now Derek Carr is going to turn around and say, okay, well, I'll okay a deal to the Saints, and the Saints can trade a third-round pick in exchange for me. Or I can just wait 10 days, get released, and go to the Saints. And that third-round pick they can now use on a receiver, a tight end, a lineman, a defensive player. I mean, ridiculous. So they signed this so that we guarantee Aaron the money, but we don't necessarily have to pay Aaron the money ourselves. It then continues and says there's another option bonus in 2024 that is worth $47 million and exercises the final year of the contract in 2026. That becomes fully guaranteed on the 5th day of the 2024 waiver period, whatever the hell that means. It also is guaranteed for injury as of the day the contract was signed. So I guess I'm trying to follow this along. So if you pick up the 23 option, which they're going to, if you pick up the 23 option, now you've got the 25th year. And if you pick up the 24 option, then you've got the 26th year. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing football in 2026. So I don't know if that plays a factor into it either. But again, the one thing I'll say, I am not, it's funny. Today we've spent the better part of 3 hours discussing whether or not the Titans are going to trade for Aaron Rodgers, because people around the league, it's not me. I mean, I read today the unnamed executive in The Athletic telling Mike Sando that he thinks that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Tennessee. And as much as I would love to jump for joy and say, Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, as much as I would love that, I don't think it's going to happen. But then I was thinking, like, do I want Aaron Rodgers? You all know last year I wanted Aaron Rodgers. But last year was a different circumstance. The Titans were the reigning number 1 seed in the AFC. They had A.J. Brown at wide receiver. Aaron was a back-to-back league MVP. They had a lot of things going for them. Now, the Titans can't even beat Jacksonville. They're picking 11th. And Aaron was not able to carry his team the way he was the previous 2 seasons. And it's not like Aaron has dialed his complaining back. So I don't care about the money because it's not my money, and I don't care about the cap, unlike hockey, where I do care about the cap because the cap is real. I don't care about the cap because it's fake in the NFL. But I don't know if I want Rodgers because I just don't know if Rodgers gives them the best chance to win. And I don't know if Rodgers would be fully committed. But there is some serious smoke here on the Aaron Rodgers front. Texter says, just give Ryan Tannehill a chance. He had no chance behind the offensive line that they put in front of him last year, and the wide receivers weren't much better. Please, please, please give Tannehill a chance in 2023. I have, other than the desire, like if it was a binary question of Tom Brady or Ryan Tannehill, I would pick Tom Brady, and I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. And I've already made that mistake, and I'm not making the same mistake twice. That one is an easy one for me. On the other side of it, between Tannehill and Rodgers, if I had to win a game, I'd go with Rodgers. Because I just think he's a better player. If I had to go through the course of the season with Vrabel as a coach, I think I'd go with Tannehill. Only because I just don't see Vrabel and Rodgers vibing at all. And I do think, and I said this when we discussed when Tannehill got hurt and was out for the year, and we discussed, did he earn another year after last year? And I said, if I own the team, I'm rolling it back with Tannehill. Now, if I can get Brady, now I actually said at the time, if I get Rodgers or Brady, and I do think Ryan Tannehill deserves the benefit of the doubt for last season because he didn't have a bad season. But the offensive line was terrible. The coaching was terrible. The receivers were inconsistent. I do think that Mike Vrabel probably owes Ryan Tannehill the benefit of the doubt, but he's probably not going to give it to him, and he's probably not going to give it to him because they still probably hold that Bengals playoff game against Tannehill, which I still hold against him too. The venom is just not as strong as it was then. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. 615-737-1025. There is one thing that is bumming me out about the Super Bowl, and I'll just admit it. I will just admit it. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, live from Radio Row, and our Radio Row coverage is presented by Social Furniture. Again, that is Social Furniture in the Richland Shopping Center. Let me get that read in front of me. On Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax-free refund sale. And let's give Preds fans a chance to win some tickets. Preds fans, if you want to win tickets in the lower bowl, section 102, text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to the game text line at 615-737-1025, and you will be entered to win. Win with 1025 and 1063 the game, and you can win with Superbook.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guy.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Want to be the real hero this Valentine's? Genesis Diamonds makes it easy with the Total Romance Package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner out. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. Here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you some gourmet chocolates, a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward dinner at STK Steakhouse. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas for the occasion. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. And of course, if you're thinking of getting engaged this Valentine's, Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with our dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis Diamonds. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolate, and gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800 on select equipment. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
If you missed the latest from Chase and Michelle,
maybe I'm just being get off my lawn guy and I'm being grumpy, but if they just all went away all together and we just didn't have them and you just set a roster, I'm fine with that.
See, the way I look at it is, I mean, I'll be honest, I did not tune into either of them this weekend. I saw videos on Twitter, but I just feel like the way that these are set up in the games, it's not a TV product. It should be some sort of streaming, like put it on a streaming platform or something like that, or just stream on Twitter, because I'll watch the videos and I think they're funny of, whether it's a play or it's one of the competitions they had in the Pro Bowl, and I think it's also fun for the players. They look like they were having fun, and if you're working there, a cool networking event.
Chase and Michelle, weekdays from 9 to 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose. I don't want college football to be the NFL. When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, AJ Brown. We're here in Arizona, excited to play in the Super Bowl. I have so many coaches to thank for getting me to this place right here. But one of my coaches in particular is Coach Moore. I'm so honored to team up with FedEx. So I want y'all to stay tuned. I got a surprise coming later for him and y'all.
There you go. That was AJ Brown giving a shout out to Coach Moore on behalf of FedEx. And I have so many questions. First off, is Coach Moore, Rob Moore, his wide receivers coach with the Titans? Is that who he gave a shout out to, or whatever that is with FedEx? And that was some ad that he had on his Twitter, and that was FedEx, right?
Correct.
Okay. So he's nominating Coach Moore. Is that like a high school coach? Is that a college coach? Or when he says Coach Moore, is he talking about Rob Moore, the Titans wide receivers coach? Can we play that cut again? Again, Rob Moore is the Titans wide receivers coach. This is an ad AJ put up on Twitter earlier today.
Hey guys, AJ Brown. We're here in Arizona, excited to play in the Super Bowl. I have so many coaches to thank for getting me to this place right here. But one of my coaches in particular is Coach Moore. I'm so honored to team up with FedEx. So I want y'all to stay tuned. I got a surprise coming later for him and y'all.
What is the surprise? Is there a surprise there for Rob Moore? Can AJ do that? Is that legal? And then AJ teaming up with FedEx. If Arthur Smith was still here, would AJ be playing receiver for the Titans? I don't know. Let me just say this, and I'm going to be completely honest. It bums me out that AJ Brown's in the Super Bowl and the Titans are. After all the talk that we did on this program, but you all as fans kind of did too, about are they going to trade AJ? They say they're not going to trade AJ. They traded AJ. Was it a good idea to trade AJ? I said it was a good idea to trade AJ. I guess I said that I supported the referendum, all of that. I felt like, AJ's going to get hurt. AJ's going to drop the ball. AJ's going to all of these things. And AJ Brown constantly said, this isn't about me. I'm not the one who did this. I wanted to spend my career in Tennessee. I wanted to be a Titan. I wanted all these things. They were the ones that didn't want me. And AJ played the victim at every chance he got. And I was on the Titan side the whole time. And even deep down inside, I still think there's a chance Treylon Burks can be pretty good. But AJ went to Philadelphia and set a Eagles franchise record for receiving yards, but he did it in 17 games. So, 17 games. Would it have been a 16-game record? I don't think so. But nonetheless, he set a record, an Eagles record for receiving yards, and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Now, A.J. Brown is not the only reason the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Hassan Reddick was a wonderful free agent signing. Wonderful. And nobody talks about it. They have developed a really strong offensive line. Their defensive line is so good that it reminds me of the defensive line that they had when they won the Super Bowl 5 years ago. Their wide receiver, Devontae Smith, who they didn't get from the Titans, is a slippery, special good player. Jalen Hurts has evolved as a leader and evolved as a quarterback for that team. They've got a good offensive system for them. I mean, the Eagles are not good because the Titans traded away A.J. Brown. But it sure does look like that. It sure does feel like Philadelphia had a good team, and you had a team that was the number one seed in the AFC that I believe if they had gotten over the Cincinnati hump would have won the Super Bowl. As I said at the time, if Ryan Tannehill could go 3 games without turning the ball over, and that included the last game of the year against the Texans, if he could have gone 3 games without turning the ball over, the Titans would have gone to the Super Bowl. I still believe that. And so here the Titans were at the top, and the Eagles were just happy to get into the playoffs, and you trade them A.J. Brown, and here they are at the Super Bowl. And here you are sitting at home, and everybody's wondering, is this team going to be any good next year? Who's going to be the quarterback next year? Is Derrick Henry still going to be a part of this long term? And it bums me out. It bums me out. And it doesn't mean that the trade was a bad trade. And it doesn't mean that the Titans are, that they're going to never live this trade down. And it doesn't mean anything like that. It's just the idea on draft night. The big news of draft night was that the Titans traded A.J. Brown. I remember sitting there at Third and Home where we did the draft show. And as soon as they made that trade, ESPN, who had basically told TD, like, hey, just do a little write-up on whatever the Titans do, and, we're not, mind your business, don't bother us. Then all of a sudden, ESPN was like, wait, AJ, and then all of a sudden, here's Diana Rossini in Sal Palantonio breaking everything down right there on SportsCenter after they make the trade. And then it's this whole, Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? What was it going to be? Was it going to work out for the Titans? And the fact that the Titans are picking 11th in the draft and A.J. Brown is in the Super Bowl, it bums me out. And it's going to be hard to get over that this week. And I'm going to opening night tonight, which is basically like, it's the reimagined media day for the Super Bowl. And, I will be there to talk to A.J. about the fact that he had the glow up. He's in the Super Bowl, and you're not. Texter to the text line says, Aaron Rodgers is so much better than Grandpa Brady. Please quit talking about Tom Brady and the Titans. Look, Tom Brady went on Colin Cowherd today, and basically Fox has their media day tomorrow at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. And I only know that because there's a bunch of signs up here in the media center about how Fox has their media day, which means that Greg Olson and Kevin Burkhardt and Aaron Andrews will have their press conferences and whatever, to talk about the Super Bowl. And I think, Fox probably asked Brady, and they're paying Brady something like $37 million a year to call games starting next year. And so they probably asked Brady, like, hey, can you just kindly just go on TV on Fox and just talk about how you're not going to call the game? And so people won't be asking all week, what do you think about Brady? And when's Brady going to start? Brady and all that stuff. But Brady says he's doing games next year. I knew when Brady retired, people were saying, oh, Brady's, I'll believe it when I see it. No, he's done. He's done. So for the texter that says, please stop talking about Grandpa Brady and the Titans, I know it's over. I've been saying that for a while. Texter says, screw AJ, and I'm not going to read the rest of that text. Again, I thought the Titans, as I have said many times about the A.J. Brown deal, that everybody got mad at John Robinson about after the fact. I said I voted for that referendum. So even though it obviously has blown up in their face, I can't be too mad about it. I think I have to be honest about it. And the honesty is, I voted for that referendum. I'm not going to hold it against AJ, though. I still cannot get over the camp at NBA. And maybe if I have the chance or the time, maybe I will ask AJ about the camp at NBA. But probably not. Probably ask if he has any hard feelings towards the Titans, since he's had the glow up and the guy who traded him away got fired. Keith from Bowling Green texts in and says, A.J. Brown is a generational player. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far and say that A.J. is a generational player, because I'm not even convinced that A.J. is better than Devontae Smith. If I had to pick between the two, I think I'd take Devontae Smith. And so I think A.J. is probably a top 8, 9 receiver in the NFL, generational player. When you're talking generational player at receiver, you're talking Jerry Rice. Larry Fitzgerald was a generational receiver. I don't think that AJ is Jerry Rice. I don't think that he's, Randy Moss. But then again, we didn't think AJ was this good anyways when they traded him. And so now we all know. Texter said, Brady says he's not starting until 2024, so technically the window is open for 2023. I don't see it. I just don't. I think he's done. And the second that he announced his retirement, I said, he's done. And I believed it. And I still believe it. And so I'm not going to get my hopes up anymore about Tom Brady. And as I said about Aaron Rodgers, I don't know that I want Aaron Rodgers over Tannehill. I do know that I want Tom Brady over Tannehill. And I'm not going to get what I want. And Rodgers is a better player. I just don't know if his personality would mesh. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus Brandon Lang. Matthew McConaughey made a movie that was after Brandon Lang that was kind of about Brandon Lang's life called Two for the Money. Brandon Lang, expert handicapper. He will join us up next. He is at least scheduled to join us. We'll see if we end up talking to Brandon Lang, but he is supposed to join us next here on the program, live from Radio Row out here in Phoenix at the Super Bowl. It's 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
Ranks and he scores!
On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Drive. Hey guys, it's Q, Murr, and Sal from Practical Jokers, and we are excited to announce our brand new Drive tour.
True TV and Practical Jokers, the Drive Tour, starring Q, Murr, and Sal. July 27th, the Opry House.
This is going to drive me insane.
Tickets on sale now at Opry.com. 16 years of age or older suggested to attend. Produced by Outback Presents.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years? The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Celebrate Nashville's chefs and diverse food scene throughout the month of February with Dine Nashville. Scheduled events include one-of-a-kind chef collaborations throughout the month and Restaurant Week, February 20th through 26th. Reservations and more information can be found at visitmusiccity.com/Dine Nashville.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The NFL Pro Bowl games have finished up as the NFC got the 35-33 win over the AFC. One of the big storylines for the Titans this offseason is the contract of defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons. Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com met up with Simmons at the Pro Bowl, and Big Jeff had this to say about his contract talks.
Not much I can say, especially with the talk of the contract, because like I said, that's my team is having that, so whenever we get to that point, and I feel very confident that I'll be here in Tennessee, which I want to be in Tennessee, so we'll see how it goes.
The NHL and Nashville Predators have wrapped up their All-Star break as well, as the team has been back to practice. Over the weekend, they recalled forward Tommy Novak and defenseman Kevin Gravel from AHL Milwaukee. The team announced today that they have signed forward Cole Smith to a one-year contract for next season, worth $775,000. Nashville will hit the Bridgestone Arena ice tomorrow night when they host the Vegas Golden Knights. And longtime NFL veteran wide receiver A.J. Green announced his retirement today. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gun performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome to Cavities delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. And, of course, our coverage live from Super Bowl 57 out here on Radio Row is presented by Social Furniture. Again, we love our friends out at Social Furniture. And, again, take advantage of their big offer that they've got. Stillman and Company live from Radio Row, brought to you by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. Brandon Lang So Matthew McConaughey played you in a movie and Two for the Money. But more importantly, I just want everybody to know you go on the station in Louisville that I used to be on, and you are like the main attraction every week with all the great picks. BrandonLang.com is where the picks are. So you've got a Super Bowl pick that's up right now. Give me the latest gossip from Vegas as to what we're looking at here.
Well, the line opened up, 2 down to 1.5. Money's coming in on both sides. Both teams arrived here differently. Philly back-to-back blowouts. KC, Mahomes was banged up. Struggle with Jacksonville. Couldn't stop Jacksonville in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville doesn't fumble at the 5-yard line and cuts it to 27-24. That next drive by KC gets very, very interesting. Instead, they fumble. Chiefs go 3-and-out, punt, and Trevor Lawrence throws an interception, and then Andy Reid can't run out the clock, and that was that. Bengals game, we were all fooled by the offensive line play of Cincinnati up in Buffalo. Oh, their offensive line is fine. It's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Here we go. We're leading them to the promised land. Then they go to KC, and that offensive line got absolutely destroyed. But even that being said, I ask you this. The Cincinnati defense got Joe Burrow the ball back twice in the last 7 minutes of that game. Joe Burrow was garbage. He threw long on 2nd and 3. There's 5 minutes to go in the game. You got the ball 2nd and 3 at your own 40. You're right there, brother. You're right there. Drops back. He's got the check down to Mixon. He's got the check down to Havenhurst. He's going to pick up the first down. Now you're 1st and 10 at the 45, clock under 5. You're not giving Mahomes the ball back. You're going to go pick up 2 more first downs, kick a field goal, win the game, walk off the field, and get ready to head to the Super Bowl. What Burrows do? Threw deep twice, passed up the check down. Next time they got the ball, not enough time. Then when they get Mahomes ball, horrible punt, runs it back, and on the play where they got the personal foul, Hubbard rushes upfield on the left side. Mahomes took 2 steps up in the pocket. If Hubbard just stays right where he's supposed to stay, Mahomes can't get outside. What's Hubbard do? Gives him the edge, takes 2 steps up, goes around him, and set the brother up for the personal foul pass.
And you're saying the Eagles aren't going to do that?
I'm saying that when you break down the Super Bowl, and I'm 25-5 in the 30 Super Bowls I picked.
And you're not a bull crapper. You're not one of these guys that's like, I win every game I bet.
No, I lost the last 2. I took the Chiefs over Tampa, thinking Andy Reid would have 2 weeks to prepare, thinking Andy Reid would say my offensive line can't block Tampa. Andy Reid would say, you know what, I'm going to have to move the pocket. Andy Reid would say, we're probably going to have to go with a short passing game. Andy Reid would say, we can't block these guys. So I'm going to have to change my complete offensive game plan. So then the game starts and Andy Reid goes, we can't block these guys. So what Andy Reid do? Just sit there all day, watch him take 5-step drops and running for his life, never moved the pocket, never changed his offensive scheme, never made any in-game adjustments. Was he affected by his son hitting kids off the off-ramp? Maybe. I'm just saying. Wow. Everybody said something was up there. He just sat there. Remember, this is the same coach that in a 2-minute drill in the Patriots Super Bowl, he had a drive that took 4 hours and 71 minutes.
Oh, yeah, they were down by 2 scores with 5 minutes, and they were huddling up.
The drive took 2 hours and 45 minutes. We all could travel to another city and come back, and Philly still had the ball, okay? Another thing about Andy Reid. Not for Chris Jones tipping 2 third-down passes in the Niner Super Bowl, they don't win that Super Bowl.
Or then, Jimmy overshooting.
100%. Then Andy Reid implodes against Tampa Bay. So there's a trend here where Andy Reid in Super Bowls, 2 weeks to prepare or not, hadn't been very good. Now let's go to Mahomes. My man Mahomes. Everybody loves Mahomes. The no-look passes, the blippy. Here's Mahomes. Niners Super Bowl. 3.5 quarters of garbage football before he had the one pass to Tyreek Hill on the post corner that ignited that. Tampa Bay, 4 horrible quarters of football. 8 Super Bowl quarters, he's had 1/2 of a quarter where he's played well. Every playoff game they've had has been at home in his career. So KC doesn't get to the Super Bowl because they're the better team. They get to the Super Bowl because they have home field advantage and teams implode against them. Buffalo, in the last 17 seconds, had him. Then Cincinnati gets him the next week. Tom Brady gets him because they jump off sides. The end of the day, you look at the Super Bowl. I ask you this. Who has a better offensive line?
Eagles.
Who has better D-line?
Eagles.
Okay, so with that being your base premise right there, okay, has the Kansas City Chiefs faced one true RPO running quarterback all year?
Did they play Lamar Jackson? I don't know.
No.
So, no.
Only one near that, Josh Allen. Beat him 24-20. And probably could have beat him worse. A couple turnovers by Buffalo in that game, or they probably beat him by double digits. You have a Chiefs team that should have lost to the Chargers twice, should have lost to Denver once, almost twice, should have lost to the Raiders on Monday night, should have lost to the Titans who took them to OT in KC with a banged up team.
Yes.
Okay. So now if you look at that through that lens, maybe they're not as great as we think they are. The Eagles are 16-1 with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. You know what Jalen Hurts' record was against winning teams this year? 9-0. They've lost one game Monday night against Washington, divisional opponent at home, weren't focused, came out lazy, didn't come out with intensity, and Jalen Hurts turned the ball over twice. The only game this year he's turned it over twice. I believe Jalen Hurts has only turned the ball over the entire year 4 times. So I say this to you, my friend from Nashville, Tennessee. If the game is played clean with no turnovers, KC can't win the game. They need at least two turnovers to win the game.
Brandon Lang's with us. I have a Vegas question for you.
Go.
So executives around the league are talking. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to the Titans, which leads me to ask you, you know everything that's going on in Vegas. You talked all this. Is Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders? Is he going to the Jets? What's word on the street?
The word on the street is he wants to come to Vegas. He's nervous about their defense. Titans have a defense. Jets have a defense. The smartest thing Tom Brady ever did when he sat back when he left the Patriots is he wasn't so much worried about the team he was going to offensively. Brady said, who has the best defense out there that's ready to win right now? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady went there. Arians built the offense around him. Their defense played lights out. They went and won a Super Bowl. Aaron wants to come to Vegas. Told Devontae as much. But he's not going to go there if he doesn't have a defense because he knows we can be as great as we have to be offensively, but I'm playing in the AFC, and you're not winning the Super Bowl in the AFC unless you have a defense. And the Raiders' defense is not going to be good enough in that 1 year for Rodgers to get to the promised land. And he's only got about 2 years left.
Is Mark Davis going to be willing to pay the $60 million for Rodgers?
He'll pay it tomorrow. I just was literally in Barry's Steakhouse Saturday night. Barry's Steakhouse at Circa Saturday night. My boy Richard Wilk, number 2 guy there, sitting at the bar, having a martini. I look over, there's Davis. Richard Wilk takes me over. I shake his hand, and I look at him. I go, we need Aaron Rodgers. He'll say, I'll do whatever I have to do to get Aaron Rodgers. Said it right to me. I'll do whatever. He's made it no secret. He will do whatever he has to do. Problem is he can't show up that defense in a year. Can't do it. Can't. The smartest thing Aaron Rodgers could do is go to the Jets. They got a running game. They got receivers. They got a top 5 defense.
But do you think he wants to go to the Jets?
I don't think he can handle New York. I don't think he's strong enough. I think he's too sensitive. You got to have tough skin to play in New York, brother.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think he has that. It's like when he's playing in like Pebble Beach. And he said, I'm not going to Frisco. If Aaron Rodgers, I'll say this on your show right now. If Aaron Rodgers went to San Francisco, they win the Super Bowl next year.
Sure.
100%. But because he has such a chip on his shoulder that they didn't draft him, he will never go to San Francisco.
Well, I also don't think San Francisco wants him.
They're stupid if they don't.
I mean, I don't think they want Brady. I think if they wanted Brady, Brandon Lang's with us. I think if they wanted Brady, then Brady would have been, if Miami or San Francisco had wanted Brady, he would have gone. The fact is those 2 teams didn't want him. That's why he retired. That's what I believe.
Wow. I find it very hard to believe that Kyle Shanahan with Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, you're going to say, I don't want Rodgers Brady. I would be absolutely shocked.
But you know how this is, Brandon. My team, my system, my scheme. We don't need to pay it. I know. You know, that's how I think these guys operate. Brandon Lang is with us. Where do you think? So you say Aaron wants to go to the Raiders.
I do.
You said that his best bet would be in New York, but you don't think he could handle New York. Where do you think Aaron ends up?
Titans with Derrick Henry in the running game.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. Their defense is really good. Their defense is solid, and it's only going to get better with that offensive line and that running game. It just makes sense. I don't think, but by the same token, I think he's got to be smart enough to go to the Jets. The perfect place for him to go is the Jets. It's the perfect place for him to go. But I also know that in the back of his mind, as crazy as he is, Brett Favre left Green Bay, went to the Jets, and went to the Vikings, and should have got the Vikings to the Super Bowl if he runs for the first down on third down instead of throwing it. They don't go to overtime. They win it there, and then they go to the Super Bowl and win over Indianapolis rather than Drew Brees and the Saints. And then Brett Favre retires the next year. I don't think he goes to the Jets because Brett went there first. He's a weird cat, bro. I'm telling you right now. He's a weird cat. He's not socially. He's kind of introverted, if you've ever heard of people who've been around him.
Sure.
He's an introvert.
Sure. Well, I'm friends with his brothers. So.
Am I right on that then? A little bit of an introvert?
Yeah. I mean, that whole relationship's strained and everything, with Aaron and his family. And it's it's all screwed.
A nut job.
Yeah.
As well. That you're at the age he's at.
And like, I know his brothers. If you can't be friends with his brothers, you're the problem.
Yeah.
And that's how I don't say that as like somebody who's, like, oh, let me tell you about Aaron's brothers. They don't need to. I'm telling you that just as what I know of those guys. If you can't be friends with them, you are the problem.
Yeah.
And that is a huge red flag with me, with Aaron Rodgers.
I can see that.
Brandon Lang, again, BrandonLang.com. He's got a Super Bowl pickup.
Great prop bets, too. I got 10. I'll give you one of my 10.
Give it to me.
Gainwell, the running back, had 47 yards against the Niners. His over-under rush yards are 18.5. Get you some of that. Get you some of that 18.5. Because I really believe Philadelphia's going to be able to run the football. But at the end of the day, it's so hard to go against Mahomes. You'll have him 3rd and 12, and he'll run around for a half hour and pick up the first down, and you want to throw your remote through the TV. He's so hard to go against.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting Super Bowl. I just don't know if you can trust Andy Reid, who hasn't missed a meal since Christ came back 2,000 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, I live in Vegas. You go to the buffet at Bellagio.
Oh my God!
Right as you're about to go on the buffet, his picture's there, not allowed.
Oh,
bro, I'm just saying.
Brandon is always with us in the program.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
3 ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
It's Michelle Knezovic for Superbook Sports, my official sports book, and it should be yours too, because right now the final drive for the championship is here, and there's no better place to wager on the football title than with Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business, plus you can check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. And why should you choose them? Because they have over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas. Win money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Does this sound familiar?
We have the worst agent in town, and we couldn't be more miserable. They showed up late to every showing, convinced us to lower the price way below market value, and let the cat in the house. We didn't even have a cat, but in the end, we never sold our house and lost our dream home. Hire our terrible agent and see the results for yourself. You'll totally regret it.
Don't let that happen. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred so often by home buyers and sellers. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I don't think Green Bay is trading him to an NFC team. I just don't see that happening unless an NFC team says, oh, my God, I really, we're going to give you all of our draft picks to have 2 years of Aaron Rodgers. That's the other thing. The acquiring team that does acquire Aaron Rodgers has got to get some sort of commitment. At least Tom Brady, when he went to Tampa Bay, he immersed himself in that entire organization, and he basically became the leader in the face of the organization, played 3 years for them, got them to the playoffs for 3 years, won them a Super Bowl. I mean, that's the kind of run I would like to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to afford whoever acquires him. But you are right. If you go to the Raiders, look at that division. You got Sean Payton, like you said, in that division. You got Justin Herbert with now Kellen Moore, new offensive coordinator. You got to deal with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's not going to be an easy out for anybody. That's why, to me, if he were going to go to the AFC, I was thinking, man, maybe he would go to the Titans. I think he has a house in Nashville. And the Titans, I think with him at quarterback, you would give Jacksonville a run for their money. In that division with Houston and Indy dealing with quarterback situations and draft picks and all that other crap, you would have a chance to win there. I just don't know how deep you would go in the playoffs because the top 5 young quarterbacks are all on the AFC side of the ledger. But again, I just don't see Green Bay allowing him to go to an NFC team.
There you go. That was Boomer Esiason on 670 The Score today saying, I think the team that makes sense for Aaron Rodgers is Tennessee. And again, Mike Sando talking to 2 league executives in The Athletic today. They said Aaron Rodgers, Tennessee. Brandon Lang just came on the show. And I asked Brandon Lang, and again, to give you some background, and I didn't want to spend the whole time talking to him about his background, but Matthew McConaughey based the movie 2 for the Money off of Brandon Lang. And so when we got offered the opportunity to have Brandon on, I was like, we got to have him on. And I know he knows the scoop in Vegas. And I know how badly in Vegas they want Aaron Rodgers. You heard what he said. He said Mark Davis would pay the $60 million for Aaron Rodgers. Pay it tomorrow. He said Aaron should go to the Jets, but he thinks Aaron is too sensitive for the Jets. I don't disagree with that because I think Aaron is pretty sensitive. So I think he's probably too sensitive. I probably agree, probably too sensitive for New York. Then I was telling people this the other day. I said, the crazy thing about Trevor Lawrence is how he went away for 2 years. He was the number 1 pick. He won the national championship at Clemson. And from that day forward, he was the number 1 pick, bar none, no matter what. It was him in the 2021 draft. He goes number 1. And then all of a sudden he goes away and disappears for 2 years. Nobody hears from them. Then all of a sudden at the end of the season, they get hot. Titans are stinking it up. They make the playoffs, and now everybody's, oh, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's just like that Boomer Esiason cut, where Boomer's talking about how they'll give Jacksonville a run for their money. They'll give Jacksonville a run for their money with Aaron Rodgers. They gave Jacksonville a run for their money with Josh Dobbs. Talking about give Jacksonville a run for their money with Aaron Rodgers. Because New York's so tough, Zach Wilson went through a similar thing. And so New York was like, you suck. Because that's how New York is. In New York, if you stink just a little bit on your first day, you suck. The end. All the shows, everybody's talking about it. Everybody thinks you stink. The end. Jacksonville, nobody pays attention. Nobody knows what happened. And more importantly, nobody cares. And Aaron knows that. Aaron knows New York. Aaron knows that if Aaron Rodgers signs or gets traded, but he has to agree to it, if he goes to the New York Jets, it is championship or bust. I don't know if Aaron will be able to handle that. I also agreed with what Brandon Lang said about the idea that Brett Favre went to the Jets, so Aaron's not going to do it. And I do think Aaron is that kind of petty. The second part of that on the Brandon Lang front was he doesn't think Vegas has the defense. Rob Ninkovich earlier today, Ian, if you could, Rob Ninkovich was on Get Up this morning, and he played all those years with Tom Brady, and he was talking about Vegas and how the Raiders are pushing all their chips in there. And he says Aaron wants to go to Vegas, but he doesn't trust they can build him a defense. Here's what Rob Ninkovich said this morning on ESPN.
I think the hard part about if you're Aaron Rodgers, the last time that you had won a Super Bowl, you had a top 5 defense. So you want to pick a team that, number one, they have to have an offensive line. You need protection. Number two, you want a defense that gives you more opportunities. You want somebody that can give you as many touches as possible. And you look at the Vegas Raiders, they haven't been in the top half of the league since 2002 on defense. I'm talking take the league, cut it in half. They haven't been in the top half since 2002. A long, long time.
Yeah, it is.
So, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you have to take in a lot of different variables here. And number one, if your defense can't get off the field, it puts a lot of stress on the offense.
And I don't disagree. And so Aaron hears those same things. And Josh McDaniels has never been a defensive guy. The Titans don't really have a great defense, but they have Jeffrey Simmons, who's pretty good. And Mike Vrabel's reputation of being a defensive guy makes them think, okay, this is going to be what we need here. This is the guy that we've got to have, and that Vrabel will get it done. And so the bigger question for me with Rodgers that nobody outside of Nashville will think of is, do the Titans? Because I think everybody here, and there's about 300 radio people and all this stuff, I think everybody outside of Nashville just assumes the Titans want Aaron Rodgers over Ryan Tannehill. But I'm not completely convinced they do. And the money is a big part of this. Aaron, you'd have to give him $60 million next year. You'd give Tannehill $27. Aaron, Green Bay can't come up empty-handed. So you'd have to give him something. And I do think when they factor that in, they're going to say we're probably better off with Tannehill. And, of course, there's the attitude as well. But everybody today, league executives, unnamed league executives, Colin Cowherd has never stopped talking about Aaron Rodgers to the Titans. And the one thing I'll say about the Titans, I don't think the Titans are going to do this. But I also didn't think that the Titans were going to fire John Robinson, and they did. I didn't think the Titans were going to not hire from within with Ryan Cowden, and they did. So I've been wrong a couple times here, but I don't see the Titans doing it. But Brandon Lang, add him to the list. 615-737-1025. More of your phones, more guests here live from Radio Row at the Super Bowl. We will continue along, and we will do that next. We got some people from Pro Football Focus coming on. I want to know how they grade offensive linemen. And if the Titans line's really that bad. And, of course, the news of the day, league executives telling Mike Sando and The Athletic they think Rodgers to Tennessee is the fit. FanDuel Sportsbook. That's my official sportsbook app. That's right. FanDuel has the perfect way for everyone to get in the Super Bowl 57 action with a no-sweat same-game parlay. That means everyone gets bonus bets back if your Super Bowl SGP does not hit. It does not matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. Same-game parlays let you combine all of your favorite bets for a chance at a bigger payday. So start building your own or bet a popular SGP already made for you on America's #1 sportsbook app. For me, and it's hard after hearing Brandon Lane talk there, but you heard that one of his big prop bets that he just said is Gainwell, the running back for Philadelphia. He says over the rushing yards. And I do like Gainwell, and I like how they use him. So keep that in mind. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM when you download the app. Either way, you'll get bonus bets back if your no-sweat same-game parlay does not hit, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The offseason is underway for the Tennessee Titans, but the work has just begun for the two-tone blue.
The offensive line, as badly as any other weapon, you have to fix left guard and left tackle.
For all the news and moves, keep it locked right here.
Talking Titans?
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards, close in about 14 days, and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
What's up, Nashville? Jeremy here at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. We are a trendy, upscale, full-service bar and cigar lounge in the heart of downtown, 2 blocks from Bridgestone Arena, Ryman Auditorium, and Nissan Stadium. Come check out the best old-fashioned in Nashville and let my excellent staff create your next luxury experience. With our state-of-the-art ventilation system and imported leather furniture, make us your next stop for a night out on the town. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. We are luxury redefined.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live from Radio Row out here at Super Bowl 57, joined by Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus here on the program. So I want to start with this before we get into kind of the news about Aaron Rodgers and grades and all that kind of stuff. I have one, maybe not bone to pick with Pro Football Focus, but one area where I'm skeptical of Pro Football Focus, the offensive line. And I say this for 2 reasons. Number one, the first reason I'm skeptical is because every coach and every line coach is like, you don't even know what we told them to do on that play. You said that guy didn't block. And that's like coming to us like on the radio saying, oh, this left guard stinks, or oh, this tackle. And number two, on Sunday Night Football last year, the Titans are playing a game. David Quessenberry was a backup right tackle. Number 1 ranked by Pro Football Focus. I'm like, there's no way. So how do you guys do these grades so that I know once and for all?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. I think one of the big things, so the Quessenberry thing, I think is easy enough to explain. When we put the grades out for PFF, the premium stats, we don't wait for run blocking or pass protection, right? We sort of work on the basis that we would prefer people to do that themselves. Like, how much do you value run blocking? It's going to depend whether your offense is like the Atlanta Falcons and you run more, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's all sort of interdependent based off what you value. So we're like, we'll kind of leave it as it is. And you can determine yourself whether you want that weighting to be more, whether you care more about pass protection and how much and all that kind of thing. But you have to default it somewhere, right? And that's where you get David Quessenberry ends up with the number one ranking overall because his run blocking was ridiculously strong, but nowhere will you'd find PFF people saying, well, David Quessenberry is the best right tackle in the NFL, right? And we were sort of saying, look, pass protection's a lot weaker. It's also being protected a little bit in this offense. He's having a good season, but obviously he's not the best right tackle in the NFL. As for how we do it, there's a couple of things. Number one, I think it's relatively simple. Yeah, you can't know what the exact play call is without being in the building. On the other hand, generally speaking, inside zone is inside zone, power is power. You know, these are concepts that everybody has in the playbook where the nuances are not that different. You've seen them happen a million times over. You know what the rules are, generally speaking, based off offense or defensive fronts. And it's just a case of going through it block by block and figuring out who's blocking who and where those things are happening. And when you see one guy doing something that doesn't fit with the other blockers, it tends to leap out, right? Like,
sure,
maybe this guy is doing what he was supposed to, or more likely, maybe this guy is doing something wrong because the other 10 guys are all doing something that makes complete sense. And then I think the other thing where it gets interesting is most offensive or most coaching grading systems in the NFL, you get a positive or you get a negative. There's no middle ground, right? So it's either, did you do your job? Yes, positive, tick. Or did you not? Cross, negative. We have a middle ground, the sort of zero graded plays, the expected plays, which is a lot of offense or a lot of plays generally where you executed your block. On the other hand, your block was also blocking a defensive lineman into the gap that he was assigned to be in anyway. So both players were kind of happy with that. Nobody was really winning. You know, you were both sort of executing your job. So I think that changes how good or bad the play that is for the offensive lineman. If you sealed a guy off into the A gap, but if he was happy to be in the A gap anyway, you didn't really do anything above and beyond. But for an offensive line coach, that guy's getting a positive grade. It's like, did his job. That's what we want. But for us, there's a nuance there where you're like, well, we're not giving that a great grade because the defensive lineman was happy to be there as well. Everybody sort of gets a neutral. So I think the ability for us to give those gradations in the middle where things are not really good or bad, I think is a lot of difference between some of the grades where an offensive line coach is going out there and going, this guy graded 95%, you know, it was all good. Yeah, but how many of those plays were of the sort of expected variety and how many were actually positive plays where he's taking a defensive lineman somewhere he doesn't want to go?
Sam Monson with his Pro Football Focus. Mike Sando came out in The Athletic, or he didn't say this, but talked to two league execs, unnamed league execs, who said that the best fit for Aaron Rodgers would be Tennessee. That, you know, one exec said Rodgers is going to go to Tennessee. The next exec said that makes perfect sense. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm with the second exec. I think it does make a lot of sense. The Tennessee, if they can fix the offensive line, which was a big problem last season, they sort of hovered around the bottom 5 in the NFL. They gave up a ton of pressure. They were one of the worst teams in the league in terms of yards before contact on average over the course of the season. If they can repair that unit, then they've got some receivers to work with. I think the group will be better next year than it was this season between recovering from injury, between young players getting better. And then I think Rodgers within this system, just schematically, is a great fit. So there's a lot to like about that.
What do you think about, there's been a big rumor, Tim Hasselbeck went on our midday show and basically said, without telling us, kind of told us he thinks Matt Nagy is going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Titans. We know that's a different system than what they've been running. How much of a change is that, if that's what happens?
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable change. You know, obviously Matt Nagy comes from that Kansas City coaching tree, the Doug Peterson system as well. It's all interrelated. The Andy Reid sort of foundation piece. It's obviously, it traces its way back to the West Coast offense, all those kinds of things. But it is a bit of a different system. But I think, again, it's another one where Aaron Rodgers thrives. Like, that's where he makes a lot of sense. It wouldn't be changing anything too dramatic and too fundamental. I think that's a system that would work well there. They would increase the number of RPOs that they use, those run pass options, which I think generally is still not a cheat code, but it's free manufactured offense in a lot of instances and on a lot of plays. So I think it would be a good thing.
Sam Monson's with us, Pro Football Focus. I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know that if I told you this ahead of time, you'd have been able to crunch the numbers or whatever. Is Rodgers better than Tannehill plus the $30 million that you save, plus the probably first round pick that you don't give up?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the tough situation, is that you're never talking about just a player in isolation. It's always opportunity costs and what you're giving up to get the guy. I think certainly Rodgers on his contract playing at, the MVP level that we saw last year, that we saw the year before, I think that's worth almost any price tag. Like, him playing at that level makes any team an instant contender. And based off what we saw this year, I don't think there's a reason why he can't be at that level next year. Like, he didn't suffer a physical decline. We didn't see a guy whose arms suddenly started to look gone, whose mobility was disappearing. We saw a guy who just didn't have receivers that got open, and he didn't trust anybody, and he couldn't execute the offense the way he did in previous seasons. So if that goes back, I think he's absolutely worth the contract. The first round pick, I think, is where it starts to get more debatable. And, you're in this world now where how many more years of Rodgers are you going to get? Are you going to, is this a 1, 2, 3 year deal? That, I think, is a big determining factor for whether it's worth the first rounder as well.
If Aaron Rodgers called you though and said, Dan, you gone over all this, you guys at Pro Football Focus, go over the numbers. I can't trust the Packers. I can't trust these teams that are trying to pitch me. Jets, Raiders, Titans. Where should I go? What would you say?
I think the Jets is the best situation for a guy like Rodgers to walk into. That was a playoff caliber team this year that didn't make the playoffs because their quarterback situation was terrible. And they did that with an offensive line that was just beat to hell all season long. Like, the Jets offensive line, I think theoretically should probably be a top 10 unit in the NFL, but it wasn't because everybody's kept getting banged up and injured and weren't able to play the position they were supposed to be playing all the way through the year. If those guys get back, get healthy, they've already got receivers to work with, and they've got a nasty defense. I think that's a definite playoff caliber team just waiting for a quarterback to step in and take them there.
Do you think that the Titans have the chance at being a good team next year?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the advantage that Tennessee has over the Jets is that they're in a much easier division. The Jets, even if they're a good team, even if they're a playoff caliber team, you got to get past Buffalo. You got to get past Miami. You got to get past the Patriots, who aren't going to suck. Like, that's a difficult division to get out of, even if you're a good football team. The AFC South is wide open. I mean, Jacksonville were improving as the year wore on. If Trevor Lawrence continues his ascent, you've got to assume Jacksonville will be pretty good next year. But that's a division, I think, right there for the taking if a team can take a jump next year.
This year, Pro Football Focus. What do you make of, kind of right now where the league is and, where all these young quarterbacks are coming into the AFC? A guy like Tannehill. I think Tannehill actually had a pretty good year. I didn't really like the offensive coordinator, Todd Downing. They fired him. The offensive line was a mess. They traded away A.J. Brown. And yet, Tannehill pretty much gave them a shot in almost every game he played in this year, except for the Philadelphia and Buffalo games. And yet, I hear everybody oohing and awing over Derek Carr, and I don't ever hear that about Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tannehill is just the victim of how the narrative season works in the NFL. It's all about, if we're going to give the quarterback the credit for everything that's going well, he also takes the blame anytime things start to unravel, and now we blame the quarterback. Like, Tom Brady, I think, was well capable this year of playing exactly the way he played a year ago, but everything around him was worse. The offensive line was worse. The play calling was worse. His receivers weren't as good or injured. But everybody looks and they go, oh, finally, Father Time caught up with Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers, the same kind of thing. And I think Tannehill is just being blamed for everything that you talked about that sort of crumbled around him. But I agree with you. I think Tannehill is perfectly capable of a bounce back season if the offensive line gets back on track, if the play calling is a bit better, if the situation around him improves. Tannehill has shown for years that he's a good player in this Titans offense.
Do you think the Dolphins screwed up by not going after Brady?
I think the Dolphins are in a tough spot because of the concussions for Tua. But what we saw earlier this year is that Tua can run that offense at a really high level. I mean, before he got the concussions, that offense with Tua in it was matching Kansas City in terms of like EPA per play and, a few other advanced statistics. It was as good as any offense in the NFL. And then you get multiple concussions and Tua's out for 5 weeks in the protocol and all those kinds of things. So now we're in this sort of world of, what does the rest of his career look like at this stage? But I think given how good he was, I think he sort of earned at least the opportunity to say, like, he can be as good as anybody in this system.
Sam Monson's with his Pro Football Focus. What Treylon Burks, PFF was really high on going into the draft. He's the 6th of the 6 receivers taken in the first round. At times, looked the part this season, and other times was injured. What made PFF so high on Treylon Burks?
I think when you look at that physical skill set, it's a lot of the same reasons that A.J. Brown is so good. There are only so many DBs in the NFL that have any shot of matching up with that kind of guy physically. They're smaller, they're not as fast, they're not as strong, and at some point, that's just a trump card for good coverage. Even when you're covering the guy well, you're in tight coverage, he can just go up and beat you for sheer size, strength, and physicality. And you saw, all the way through the season, Treylon Burks flashed that kind of ability where he was just a visible problem for DBs trying to cover him. And the system that he was coming out of, I think he was always going to be a little bit of a project because he was already used as kind of a gimmick. It wasn't so much wide receiver as this is the dude we want the ball with, and we're going to do that any way we can think of. We're going to put him in the backfield. We're going to line him up at tight end. We're going to have him in the slot, out wide. Like Arkansas used him all over the field just to try and get the ball in his hands. So I think it was always going to take a little bit of time for that to transition to you're actually playing fully fledged wide receiver in the NFL. But when he sort of gets used to that, I think his skill set physically is just off the charts.
Do you think the quarterbacks in this draft are good?
I think they're a decent group. I think Bryce Young is a really, really good quarterback if we can get past the size issue. I think there's a lot to like about Will Levis. I'm less wild on C.J. Stroud, and I think Anthony Richardson is a bit of a project, but I think it's a pretty good group.
Titans picking. Last one for you, Sam Monson with us. Titans are picking at 11. They need a left tackle. They need receiver help. With what you know of this class, what route do you think would better suit them?
I think they may end up being in a very good spot to draft a left tackle. I think you may end up getting the top left tackle on the entire board at that pick. So I think if that's the way the draft falls, automatic pick for them. I think you're right, though. Wide receiver, it's also in that zone where wide receiver could be a value pick as well. I think because of the fact that they need a couple of things, I think they're going to be well situated to basically take the top player on their board at the right position of need and almost, be right whatever happens.
Pro Football Focus, you guys got the podcast. Steve's going to join us later in the week. What's the scoop on the podcast?
Yeah, we're going to 5 days a week at this point in the off season. Obviously here on Radio Row, we're 3 days a week during the season. Then we scale it down to 2 days a week after the draft. But we're maximizing the PFF NFL podcast over on the PFF channel. It's going to be me and Steve 5 days a week throughout the off season. Yeah, it's a lot of us. It's a long podcast as well. You're going to be Sam and Steve tapped out by the end of it.
Sam, great stuff. Really appreciate you stopping by and joining us here live out at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. We got more, including a preview of A.J. Brown at opening night. What's he going to say about the Titans? Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome to Smashville, home of your Nashville Predators. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Monday, February 13th for the Valentine's Day date game and your college night with Austin Peay as your Nashville Predators take on the Arizona Coyotes. Purchase your college night tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/college nights for a Preds and Austin Peay co-branded hat. And don't miss the Thursday and Saturday games against the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. For your tickets, go to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go Preds!
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from a Moment's Peace, the ultimate day spa and salon in Cool Springs. A spa gift card lets her pick whatever she wants, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, you're a thoughtful romantic this Valentine's Day. But time's running very short. Call 224-0770. A Moment's Peace in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakers Bridge Avenue. Call or click right now, 224-0770. Online at amomentspeace.com.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and I'm telling you, this year the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now and use promo code ROB so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I'm going with Philly in this matchup, and I'll go with Jalen Hurts as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball. But you take it any way you want to take it, all on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Start your day with a cup of Joe. Ugh, he's gonna think that's stupid.
Wait, what?
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. There, that sounds better.
Thank you so much.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, AJ Brown. We're here in Arizona, excited to play in the Super Bowl. I have so many coaches to thank for getting me to this place right here. But one of my coaches in particular is Coach Moore. I'm so honored to team up with FedEx. So I want y'all to stay tuned. I got a surprise coming later for him and y'all.
There you go. That was A.J. Brown. And I don't exactly know what A.J. Brown is selling there with FedEx. And I don't even know who Coach Moore that he's talking about is there. I think that's Rob Moore, the wide receivers coach of the Titans. I could be wrong. I don't know. Is he allowed to get gifts for a coach who's not his coach anymore? I don't know. So tonight is Super Bowl opening night. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have watched Super Bowl opening night before on NFL Network. In fact, you're not even allowed to post a video until after the Super Bowl opening night thing is over because NFL Network and ESPN both pay for Super Bowl opening night. And normally I don't care about Super Bowl. It's glorified media day, right? But they put it in prime time, and for some reason it's across the street. We're at the convention center. It's at the basketball stadium, the arena across the street. And normally I don't care about these things. But I do think that A.J. Brown is worth discussing. You know, kind of the moment of truth with A.J. Brown about the fact that, to me, it's worth asking about his feelings about the trade after the fact. The fact that he won the trade. He's in the Super Bowl. He got $25 million a year. He got his money. And the guy who made the trade's been fired, and the Titans are picking 11th, And honestly, as somebody who roots for this team, but also covers it on a daily basis, there's a lot to be skeptical about the future of the Tennessee Titans. And I do wonder how AJ feels. The second person that I'm kind of zeroing in on as far as opening night's concerned is all the star players will have like their own little, they're called risers. They'll have their own riser where they'll talk, and AJ obviously is one of them. But all the players and coaches are also available. And you can just catch, Johnny Joe walking around. Like if it were the Titans, you'd have to get Jeffrey Simmons at a riser, but you could get probably Tier Tart just walking around. All the coaches are available too, which leads me to Matt Nagy. Ian, is it worth my time to chat up Matt Nagy to talk about quarterback development and, how to spot a guy in the draft and all of those things with the anticipation that he's going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Titans? Or are we reading too much in to the clearly circumstantial evidence we have that he's going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Titans?
That's a good question. I would like some insight. I'm just worried that he's going to be a little bit too dialed in to this week, into the Super Bowl week, to really give us any good answers or kind of the stuff that we're looking for when you ask those questions. I'm a little bit worried about that.
But what is a quarterback coach? What's the expectation that a quarterback coach is going to be asked at a Super Bowl media day, right?
In general?
How impressed were you by, Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator. Andy Reid is the coach. Those questions. I don't even know if anybody's interested in anything Matt Nagy has to say.
Fair.
Except for me.
That's a fair
and
point.
Again,
yeah.
All this, and the circumstantial evidence that I have about him being the next offensive coordinator of the Titans is Tim Hasselbeck said it 3 weeks in a row with such a, I know it's going to be Matt Nagy tone that makes me think that it's going to be Matt Nagy.
Ask him if he knows Tim Hasselbeck. Just ask him that.
So start with asking
just
if he knows Tim Hasselbeck.
Do you know Tim Hasselbeck? And then just end it right there.
And then tell him, Tim talks all the time about you're going to be the next coordinator of the Titans. I think I should save that for the end. I don't know how many questions I'll get, probably 2, 3. Maybe I'll drop that in the end of hey, by the way, Tim Hasselbeck never stops talking about how you're going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Titans. But I am going to ask him, as far as development of quarterbacks and the role he played in scouting Mahomes and all that kind of stuff.
I think he could give you some good answers on that. Just, what you saw in Mahomes, the whole story about the Kelsey podcast that we talked about and played earlier this week. It's top of mind. I think you probably have a good answer or two on that.
Do you think A.J. Brown has a good answer tonight when I ask him about, and I may not be the only person to ask him. He may get asked about this by other people, but the only people that I think are here from Nashville right now are me and Jim Wyatt, and I'm not sure anybody else cares about his feelings towards the Titans as he's getting ready to play Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Or do you think A.J. takes the A.J. Brown way out, not A.J. Brown way out, kind of the
Super Bowl week kind of thing out. Yeah.
I'm focused on the Chiefs, and this is a big game and all that kind of stuff.
I would tend to think if it wasn't Super Bowl week, you might be able to get something out of them, but Super Bowl week could be tough.
Speaking of Super Bowl week, all of our coverage here at Radio Row is presented by Social Furniture. That's right. Glad to have them on board for Super Bowl Radio Row. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. Tomorrow, we're going to have a full day again live out here at Radio Row as we get you set. And the one thing that I promised, and Ian backed me up on this, I asked you about both guys if our interviews were good. I am not going to put on boring interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to just interview people to interview people. It'll be about the Titans, about the things we talk about. That's it. We've got the big story of the day. We'll recap that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.